within a room I can do. Brighter day for me and you. The best part of waking up is in your cup.
As I look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then storming with it's go too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you is not what to foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for right. You're done there, but the time is.
At Tim Snortons, we have what you need to make it through your day. Need breakfast? You got it. Lunch or dinner? Made to order, just the way you want it.
Delicious.
Thirsty? Try our famous ice fap. A nice latte? Or a classic roast. And don't forget dessert, like our signature Snort bits.
Oh, it was good.
Tim Snortons. We've got you covered.
Did you're not surprised.
Oh boy, can't beat the classics. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by Tim Snortons. Always salty. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. I don't know when this is exactly going to go up. Probably be a couple days, I would assume. Sorry about that. It's probably been a couple days, if I had to guess, given the fact that Phil's trial, well, his hearing anyway, was supposed to be on the 5th. So there should have been a video that came out on the 5th, but I don't know when it's going to come out. Might not come out till the following week. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're here, I'm here, we're here. That's all that matters. So let's go ahead and get to what the circumstances are going to... let's get into the circumstances. First things first, let's go ahead and change up the landscape a little bit. Give me a second. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 videos that will make up our broadcast, all brought to us by Burnell. First video, let's see, DSP, tip fundraising marathon on Friday, and social experiment. This is from February 27th of 2020. Second video, DSP, money thoughts, and viewer counter on the Twitch dashboard. And soulmate needs to ask for permission to go out. Oh, that's good. That's from February 28th of 2020. And the last and final video to round out our broadcast for all of you out there who enjoy cake. DSP successful fundraiser, $12.95 of $12.50, and Gout Night gameplay. This is from February 29th of 2020, our current year of gout, excuse me. Alright, so that's our roundup. Okay, so talk about the hearing.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for saves, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Well, we'll get to that because, you know, as the, because I'm going to kind of condense some of these broadcasts so we can finally get there and go over it. But my initial thoughts, if I had to give you guys anything, Phil was a no-show. Help! And it doesn't make him look good in front of the trustee and any of the other attorneys who may have showed up and there to represent the banks that are going to be suing him. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. His attorney didn't show up either, which is a thing. Now, I got a couple of hot takes for that, but we'll go over that at a later time and date. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to share what you guys think down below. And when we actually get to that part of, when we get to that broadcast, I'll give you guys these hot takes. I'm still kind of going over it, to be honest, and this has actually been written by like 3 different people besides myself. But, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't show, to be honest with you. But either which way, they got it rescheduled for March 26th, I believe. So it is what it is. As you guys know, so, you know, we'll just reconvene back then, but I'll start getting these broadcasts out between now and then. I'm hoping to try to get some other stuff out to you guys. Putting the finishing touches on the Monday Mat, video for anybody who actually cares about that one. There's a couple other things, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go and take that hiatus. I'm gonna start chilling on the second channel for a little bit because I'd like to get back into my lore and whatnot and get shit kind of squared away with that. There's some other news too out there that I've missed, but we'll catch up on that as the broadcast kind of goes along, or as the broadcasts, if you will, go along, and so on and so forth. And I'll still hold to my thing. If Tevin's name comes up at all in those transcripts, I'll start streaming. But you know, that's a thing, I guess. But for right now, though, there's so many really talented content creators out there that you guys don't need me to be streaming. You really don't. You got a lot of talented people out there that you guys should be watching if you're looking for variety. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me not hold you guys up. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and place your orders. Let's go ahead and get into these broadcasts, right? And let's make this happen, because I think that's important, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Let's just have a good time with it, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report, and this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes, a GTG Networking Productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking. But we're going to get right on that. Speaking of which, sorry about that. I'm going to have to push the company meeting back. It's probably till like April, to be honest with you. Only because we went through the first format, and then there's this one, and then there's one more that I want to try, to be honest with you. I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint, the smallest of hints. I'm thinking about pork and wings. Pork and wings. Saying, you know what I'm saying? Think about bringing the brothers together in a way that they could never be brought together in real life. Something like that. So, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll talk about that as we move along. So this way you guys don't have to jump to like multiple videos to find stuff. I can kind of just slide them together like that. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you guys in just a second.
Diamonds hit you, you're not surprised. I'm coming for you. My game's always so fast, so fine. You're smiling.
Celebrate game.
That you didn't catch it in time.
Warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
I hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, there'll be also, as you guys know, there'll be commercials lined in between all of this, or tasty segments, because you know we love that here. So look out for that. Also, when we get to the company meeting, by the way, I'll kind of give you guys my idea on that, because I want to know what you guys think about these things, and I'll give you guys some feedback on it and whatnot. I kind of want to start promoting people. You know what I mean? I kind of want to see other people. Well, I've always wanted to see other people do well, but I really want to like kind of shine the light on people who deserve that light. You know what I'm saying? Who deserve some light. I guess everybody deserves light, but you know what I mean? So that's kind of like the point around a lot of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sunspot Gallery, our friend Paul, so on and so forth. So that's just something that I'm thinking about moving forward. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the first of 3 videos that will make up our broadcast. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Snort Burnell, one of our favorites, DSP. Tips fundraising marathon on Friday and social experiment. This is from February 27th of 2020, our current year of gout. Squeaky chair. Let's get it.
On Friday, this is a big day, guys. Very, very important day for me. Friday is my month-end tips fundraising marathon. All right. So, being very matter of fact with all of you, I need to raise a significant amount of money on Friday in order to pay my tax guy so that he will file my federal taxes for this year. He is forcing me to pay up front this year, which he's never done before, because I filed for bankruptcy. And I guess the guy wants to be sure he's getting paid or whatever. So he's forcing me to pay everything up front. I don't have the money because I wasn't planning for this, and I've already had to dump a ton of money into many other things over the past 2-3 months. So I don't have this money lying around. So I have to raise a lot of money on Friday in order to do this, okay?
Ayúdame, por favor. Es muy importante. Give me your money. By the way, the fundraiser is 100% for tips. I'm just saying that. It's going to be for tips only. That's what I'm looking to raise on Friday. If anything else, you know, any other contributions come in, that's appreciated, but that wasn't the goal of this event. I'm very matter-of-factly trying to raise tips because that's the only thing that's going to be able to apply to my whole situation.
Now, let me cut it for a minute. One, he's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot because he keeps pushing this idea that I need tips, I need tips, I need tips, I need tips. But the big money, ladies and gentlemen, is the accumulation of those bits or cheers, so on and so forth, and subs that come through later on in the month. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that, you know, he's trying to have this laser piggy focus on tips, but in actuality, it's the cheers and the subs and everything that actually carry the day. You know what I mean? Because if he got all the money all at once in tips, he'd blow it all before he was actually going to be paid. You know, at the on the 15th, you know what I'm saying, of each and every month. So that's the first thing. And more importantly, his way of trying to direct traffic, if you will, it isn't working. It hasn't been working since 2007 or 2017, sorry. It's just not. At the end of the day, instead of saying, oh, this is tips only, say, hey guys, these are the 3 ways of doing it. Tips is kind of the nucleus. It's kind of the inner circle that I really want you guys to focus with. But at the same time, though, too, anything that can be given is appreciated. Period. That whole tips nonsense is not going to work. I don't know if that's what the nuns did with him at Catholic school or whatnot. I don't know what kind of freaky stuff they were doing to him and whatnot to have him come out like this. But it doesn't work for everybody else. Just saying.
Okay? So, please, if you can, show up on Friday and please be supported. Save the pig! What the heck? A pig with a party hat. Hello, Mr. Piggy. Ziggy Piggy. Save the pig, the game. The whole game you're trying to save the pig's life. Help!
The only thing that I want to mention is a hilarious overnight poll that I did on my Twitter, alright? And I did this as a social experiment. I was very curious to see what would happen if I did an overnight poll and how people would vote and what would happen. So, the results were pretty much hilarious, okay? So, allow me to very briefly talk about this poll because it's pretty damned funny, okay? So last
Jesus Christ, get to the point.
night, I did a poll on my Twitter. And the poll was as following. I said, Flash poll, I can't wait to see how this one turns out. Why do people believe so much bullshit on the internet? And I had 4 voting options. It was, they are gullible, they love spreading drama, they're just that stupid, or they're just trolling. Okay? Now, as the voting started to come in...
First off, all those options are skewed, obviously, because it's Phil Burnell. He doesn't know shit about being objective. Granted, though, too, I mean, it's not like genetics did him any favors, so maybe he has something to fall back on, kind of, sort of. Anyway, all of that shit is incredibly skewed. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why, and this has been pointed out by greater detractors than myself before, one of the reasons why Phil is... people believe everything, or... I wouldn't even say everything. I would say that's not even true. Because there's a lot of people who don't believe everything that Phil says. Or is said about Phil. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot. There's a lot of people who don't feel that way. At all. I'll talk about that at another time, though. Because I'm working on that on the Fight Club channel. But anyway. There's a lot of things that are said about Phil that people don't necessarily believe. What fucked him, you know what I'm saying? What fucked him was the fact that there was a nugget of truth to everything. That's what screwed him. And so when he named off that, you know, Phil's a scam artist, Phil's a pedophile, Phil's a thief, this, that, and the third, and all these things are said about me, guys, but, you know, it all comes from a nugget of truth. When he said that, he screwed himself. He completely fucked himself on that. Completely fucked himself on that. But, so that's one thing. The second thing is Phil, let's be frank, you know, let's be frank, he's not normal. And he's not normal from the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that he's always in some dumb shit. There is always some type of bullshit around Phil Burnell, DSP, Darkside Phil. There always has been. And he promotes it. He promotes it for profit. So, like, after a while, even the people who would want to give him the benefit of the doubt come to realize he's kind of a lost cause, because even if, as I stated earlier, even if you don't believe all of the bullshit that happens around him or that's said about him, when you jump back in for a little while just to kind of delve in, you know, whatever your video of choice is, Snort Burnell, Mighty D, Mr. Huff Stuffs, you know, name them off. You go ahead and delve into a few episodes of those and you're like, holy shit, that's wild. And that's what his life is. That's what his internet persona has been, I argue, since almost damn near the beginning. I think people didn't take notice until he really started screwing people over. When he started mistreating people, that's when people started to really pay attention. That's really what it comes down to. At the end of the day, he's prone to doing that shit. Even if the outlandish shit doesn't catch your wind, the shit that's still going on around him is like, holy crap. And you can't ignore that. So it's easy for people to look at his history, look at his past, and be like, okay, I could kind of see Phil into that. I don't really care about it. I don't want to really delve into it, but yeah, I could see how that could be true. And then they move the fuck along. That's not being gullible. You have a history of that shit. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. People call you a liar because you have a tendency to lie. you're prone to do it. Pulling the truth out of Phil is like pulling out like the corroded teeth that Amber Lynn has. It's going to be painful for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be for the greater good, because if one other person doesn't get scammed out of the shit, then it kind of pays off. It's kind of worthwhile. Or if you get a laugh out of it. More important, the bigger payoff is if you get both. You know what I mean? And that's really what it comes down to. He can't fix that. No one can, to be honest with you. There is not a person out there, in my own personal opinion, of course, there's not a person out there that can clean up Phil's image. It's just not possible. It's not plausible. Because at the end of the day, Phil will put what he believes and his own self-interest before anything that someone else does for him. Which means, if he doesn't like the way you're going with it, he'll just sabotage it. And then he'll walk away and say it's your fault. Period. And that's why people shouldn't help him. Because he doesn't care, he doesn't appreciate it. If Phil Burnell has all this talent, if he has all this drive, if he really put in all that hard work for the 11 plus years or whatever the hell it is, then let his piggy ass swim and see what happens. If not, then let his ass sit up in that quicksand until he tells us how the fuck he got in there. Going down to the Golden Boar post that you might see in the comment section. It's been there for like the last like 5 or 6 broadcasts. It's a great read and whatnot. It's a great read. It's a great read. You know what I'm saying? Paul's quite the writer. Quite the writer. But that's really what it comes down to. So it's not that people are stupid, people are gullible or anything. The people who follow him are. Like the people who are entrenched in the pig cult are fucking idiots. Pure and simple. You're a fucking idiot. For as many times as this guy lied to your face over stupid shit, and you guys sucked it all up or said, oh, he was a victim of circumstance or so on and so forth. Nobody has bad luck like that without tasting death. I'm sorry. That's what it comes down to. If he was being crucified the way he keeps saying that he is, he'd be dead by now. And he's not. And he's not. I mean, any ambitions that he has to have a real job or salvage his internet life is dead and gone. Oh well. He should have treated that shit well during his adolescence, but he didn't. He acted like an ass clown, and he got slapped for it multiple times. And that's what it comes down to. Phil Burnell is not a good person. DSP is not a talented individual. He wasn't talented really at Street Fighter. He wasn't talented at really any fighting games. He was just another ass clown out there with a big fucking mouth who could beat up on some people. Period. But when it was time to dance, when it was time to really do that shit, he couldn't come through. Period. You can go ahead and beat up the dudes at your locals all you want. Yes, he has some notable wins, and I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't like it. I'll tell you that. I don't like it. But he's beaten some notable people. Sure. He won some battles, ladies and gentlemen, but he didn't win the war. When it came down to that real hammer dance, he couldn't. He lost any will to live. He lost any fight. Period. So his failure from the FGC, which in turn was his failure from real life, went ahead and just translated to this. It translated to online and YouTube. Failed at that. Now he's going to Twitch. What happens after Twitch? What happens after Twitch? Is it gullible there? Is it gullible for me to sit there and tell you he's been a failure his whole fucking life and look at the track record? I want someone to come out and debate me on that and be like, yeah, no, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. Everybody goes through those types of trials and tribulations, just like Phil did. Really? Point me to somebody. Point me to somebody. Even if you had to choose between him and Wings, DSP has failed more than Wings has. Wing lost more. Well, no. No, I wouldn't say Wings lost more, because Wings has, what, like 4 acres of land spanned over 2 lots. He has his home, which is almost paid off, despite the fact, Wings, that your mom fucked you out of that the first time around, and she would have fucked you again if you didn't get her to sign those papers before she got really sick. Just throwing that out there. And I'm not talking about grandma, for some of you guys who just mingle in Phil's and Wings' shit. I mean his mother. Because Wings had that house already paid for, a mobile home or whatever you want to call it. He already had that paid for once. He already had that paid for once. And what happened was his mommy was supposed to go ahead and sign that shit over to him. And she said she would. Instead, she went ahead and got that shit refinanced, cashed out, and was like, oh yeah, if you can pay it off again, then you can keep it. That's what happened to Jordy. That's one of the reasons why Jordy's finances are fucked up the way they are. Or at least they were. Because his mother screwed him over. But even still, that was out of Jordy's hands. But DSP completely screwed himself financially. Totally. Him and Wings should be as comfortable as they want to be in life. They should be able to go off and do anything at this point in their lives. DSP is what? He's about to be 38. Wings is about to be 34, 35. Both of those guys should be comfortable. Both of those guys should be coasting the way they are. Heading into their 40s, well, one into their mid-30s and the other one into their 40s. Money should never really be a concern. It really shouldn't. But they were both fucking idiots and wanted to be recognized for what success that they had, and then wanted to fill voids that they couldn't fill anywhere else. At the end of the day, what it really comes down to is you have two individuals who made more money and had more success than they could ever imagine, and they couldn't handle it. That's the reality. And the reason why is because neither one of them have really stable upbringings, from at least what I see. Because DSP is a fucking nut. And Wings ain't no better. You know what I'm saying? Wings is definitely no better. If I had to choose out of the two, I'd probably be more comfortable living in Wings's environment to the most part. I mean, let's say I don't really fuck with Chili's I like Chili, but I don't fuck with Wendy's like that, and so on and so forth. And I actually like going outside, but that's just me. But I would much rather have that shit than what DSP did, because DSP is jacked up on so many levels from so many angles. It don't make no sense. It really doesn't make any sense that someone like that can function. But then again, he can't. That's the reason why he makes the moves that he does. That's the reason why he lies about dumb shit. That's the reason why he can't own up to nothing. You know what I mean? There's a lot that makes him the way he is, but it's not about the things you go through that make you who you are. It's what you choose to be. And that's what ended up getting him in the end. That's what ended up getting both of them. Just my opinion, though. DSP News.
I started to notice that most people were voting for, they're just trolling. Like, basically, people were saying, people aren't actually this dumb or whatever to believe nonsense on the internet. They're just trolling people, and, you know, they know it's fake shit, but they still kind of spread dumb shit on the internet and talk about dumb shit on the internet because they just enjoy trolling. The second place voting was, they love spreading drama. So, in the case of, they're not trolling, they just love to spread drama, whether it's true or not. So they don't care if the crazy shit that's on the internet is true or not. They just want to spread it anyway because they love the drama. Basically, they're very immature people. And then in third place was, they're gullible, and fourth place were they're that stupid. So essentially, when people are looking at the dumb shit on the internet, a lot of people are saying, we don't really believe it, but we'll still spread it and talk about it because we're very immature, and we just like to mess around, okay? I guess that's kind of, I would say that's probably accurate, although I would tend to think some people are
okay, first things first. One, this ass clown, the moment that Pro Jared thing came up, he took it and ran with it. So, there's that. Just saying. How much did he look into the Pro Jared situation before he decided to go ahead and put his 2p cents into there? Rub what little 2 cents that he had together, which wasn't even really his, it belonged to somebody else. And then try to cash out on social points, and then thought he could translate that into actual pity dollars, and that didn't work because he did a 2-hour 7-year debunk stream and didn't debunk shit. All he did is give more people who didn't actually know who he was more reason to look into him. Like, I'm sure if somebody went back during that time, right, during that period, if you will, and then you chose a couple of detractors and you looked at what their views were after that, I'm sure there was a spike in some of these guys, and most of them maybe, because Phil gave all the ammo he needed to have people go out there and actually look up some of that shit. He fucked himself over with that, but that's just my opinion. Secondly, big ups to the new intern, and she has a thing for gummy bears, so there's like a shitload of gummy bears around here now. I'm not complaining or anything, but, you know, if one of those containers end up coming up missing, I mean, y'all know. I'm just letting you go know right now. But also, she said that there's actually 2 videos in this broadcast and not 3. My bad. Just throwing that out there. These gummy bears are good, though.
It's really stupid. Or are just very gullible, okay? I don't know. I'm not one of these people that spreads bullshit all over the fucking internet, so I wouldn't even know, okay? So, the thing is, this is a very general question. As you can tell, there's nothing nothing specific about it. It's just generalized.
Wait, but how is it that he doesn't spread bullshit over the internet when he talks shit about everybody and anybody who's ever been more successful than him or who he feels that has slighted him in some way, shape, or form? And then, everything he says is bullshit because he retcons a lot of that shit later on down the line. Is that not misinformation? Is it not bullshit originally? But is it also not misinformation if you take a story that you've already put out there and established and twist it into something else to make other people look bad, or you think it'll make other people look bad? When in actuality, it just makes you, it only solidifies, what people say about you being a pathological liar. I don't know.
I posted up a poll on my Twitter, and people were voting and discussing it or whatever, okay? So as all this is going on, someone responded to my tweet, and he said, well, you know, it's confirmation bias, and the YouTube algorithm feeding them more and more of the same info. So you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, what confirmation bias means is that there's a group of people who are of like mind, almost like a clique or a group of like friends, even though in this case I wouldn't call them friends, it's more like online acquaintances, people who are of like mind, of like mentality, okay? And so confirmation bias basically means that if you're on YouTube and you're seeing one kind of video and it says, oh, the earth is flat, okay, but now YouTube algorithm now shows you 20 more videos that say the earth is flat. So then you watch 20 more videos from 20 more people that say, oh, the earth is flat. And then you just keep doing it, you know. Eventually you're gonna say, okay, the earth is flat, or I kind of believe maybe the earth is flat, because you're only basically kind of absorbing yourself into people saying the same thing over and over.
I'm all about myself.
There may not be any logical or factual substantiation.
Okay, wait. There are very few people that are that impressionable. It's true that if you watch a lot of detractor content, you're going to get recommended a lot of detractor content. It doesn't recommend you all detractor content, but you will get a lot of it, or you'll definitely get a lot of you'll get a lot of content related to a person that you're already watching a lot of, and people that are generally associated with that person. Not like not in real life per se, but whose content kind of contacts with all that. Now, with that being said, if you're already watching a lot of that content by your own volition, then either you find enjoyment in it or you actually believe it. But to say that everybody who watches, like, for example, an LSB video, right? Like a weekend preview, or sorry, not weekend preview, a weekend DSP, or a weekend, yeah, it's a weekend DSP. It's to say that one person will watch that once and believe everything that's said is kind of silly, to be honest. Because it's very easy to get recommended stuff like that too. I get recommended videos that I don't watch, or I don't watch the content creator, and yet there it goes, it shows up. And to be honest, I have to watch this particular content creator a couple of times before they just start getting into my rotations. But then again, I follow so many channels that it just is what it is. And half the videos that are out there, I don't agree with most of the shit that's said, but it's either interesting or it was entertaining. So I'll keep watching it. That doesn't mean I have to believe it. You know what I mean? And that's about anything. To be honest, there's a lot of shit said out there, about PewDiePie that most of it, at least from what I've seen, I'd say the larger majority of it wasn't true. I still watched them because the person had vigor. I really appreciated that. They put a lot of energy behind it, despite the fact that not all of it checked out the way that they said it did. And it might not even been that they were blatantly lying about it. It may have been that's just the information that was fed. Or that's what they interpreted the situation to be. It is what it was. It was still rather interesting. And some of the residual information that they said, I never heard of. And that shit did check out. So, tomato, tomato.
For any of it, okay? Or it may be like half-truths and conspiracy theories that are presented as truths. But
I mean, yet again, you're the one who said that there's a nugget of truth to everything that's said about you. You fucked yourself over on that one, buddy. Because, first off and foremost, you should have never said that. And he said this, ladies and gentlemen, at a time where he knew the bullshit that was being said about him. He raffled it all off before he even said the nugget of truth. When he said, oh, Phil's a liar, Phil's a scam artist, Phil's a pedophile, you shouldn't have agreed to any of that. Not at all. So you should have never said, ladies and gentlemen, there's a nugget of truth that you should have never have said that. Ever. In your life. That you should have never dreamed of snorting that. But you did. And you can call it a half-truth, you can call it whatever you want, but in that half, right, you're condoning a portion of it. Yet again, that's what screws you over. And that's nobody's fault but your own. And how many people, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest, how many people have really came out here and said that he's a pedophile? How many people have really come out here and said that? Especially in recent years, right? Even in recent years, who said that? and just a quick reference. The reason why, sorry about that, but the reason why that keeps coming up, or it was a thing, right, is because, and it seems very obvious, given his pattern of behavior, right, his how prone he is to do things, is he was obviously talking to Panda before she was 18. That is very, very obvious. And he can't shake that. And so with that being said, and like I said, I had to dig deep because I think I may have found the original video where the allegation was made, and what that person had said, because he was privy to Phil and his little inner circle back in those days at that time. I mean, that's the reason why that shit picked up steam. But there's very few modern detractors who call him a pedo. It really just comes down to, you were talking to Panda before she was legal. That's what it really comes down to. Now, granted, the age of consent in his state is like 16, I think. But either which way, you were talking to Panda before she was legal. The question is how long? And his story about how him and Panda met has changed so many damn times that it only hurts what little bit of credibility that he may or may not have. Just as an example. Anyway, just something to think about. You know what I'm saying? We may delve into that on the other channel because I really want to kind of clear that up. I really, really want to know because I never really looked into it outside of just the Panda situation.
In reality, no empirical evidence is being presented of the case that you're being presented with, but because it's called confirmation bias, you see so much confirmation of this as fact, you see so many people saying this is true, that you just believe it. You become part of the clique, you become part of the group, you become part of the cult, you become part of this group mind, this hive mind mentality that this is a truth, even though it's not true.
But you said, like I said, you talk plenty of shit about plenty of other content creators. I'm talking about going back to like 2010, 2011, shitting on them, shitting on what their motives are, despite the fact that you had never talked to these people and you didn't know exactly what they were doing or what their motives were behind it. All of these things to try to big up yourself. And people ate that shit up, hook, line, and sinker. So some of the same methods, ladies and gentlemen, that he's sitting here and saying that the detractors use against him, he used towards other content creators. What, was it a joke then? Was it all part of the act? Was it all part of the gimmick? Well, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, shit got real now. And I'm sorry that he feels that, well, not even that he feels like, you can tell he looks too old to fight back. Sorry about that. Oh well, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But that doesn't take any validity away from it. It's funny how a lot of the things that get used against him now, he's done before. And did it with the type of, I dare say this, religious zeal that is the reason why people coined him as a cult leader. Because if you go back, for example, if you ever go back and watch the old David, like some like documentaries on David Koresh, which is out there in Waco and shit, Jim Jones, shit like that, right? Like the cult leaders and shit. Charles Manson to some degree. Phil shows some of those tendencies. He doesn't show them all, but he shows some of them, especially in the way he talks, especially once he starts getting into a rhythm. You know what I mean? And you see him start to kind of, you can feel in a lot of ways how he's bolstering himself. I'll give you an even better example. The way he shitted on what's that dude's name? I don't want to call him a cuck, but that's how I remember. Waifu Destroyer Matt. The way he shitted on Waifu Destroyer Matt is just like how Jim Jones used to publicly humiliate people in People's Temple. It's damn near similar how he did it. And Phil had the same type of enthusiasm as such. It was really, really eerie hearing some of the tapes of Jim Jones doing that and thinking, holy shit, DSP's kind of like that. It's real wild how that might have been a thing. Just throwing that out there. Because when Phil likes talking down to people in the flock in his little cult, he literally, he really enjoys doing that shit. Like, he takes a whole lot of enjoyment in tearing them down. And then he takes even more enjoyment when they come back. Just like what he did with Swaggins. Like, that's kind of what Phil does. And it's a really It's a really pathetic way of trying to garner power, but that's what he does. Onision's another good example of shit like that. He's into that type of shit too. Low tier gods like that in a way too. Like they all take a whole lot of zeal in having power over other people, and especially when it comes to defending themselves, and then trying to put out this whole thing amongst their audiences or fan bases or whatever about how, oh, they're trying to destroy me, which means they're trying to destroy all of us, and so on and so forth, and yada 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 yada. And eventually something needs to be done. And each one of those individuals that I've named, Onision, Phil, as well as Low Tier God, have all called for acts of retaliation at one time or another. Same shit. And all of that shit falls into a cult-like type mentality. So I'm just throwing that out there. I understand Phil really enjoys his phrase of the day. Good for him. Great. Reading is fundamental. But at the same time, though, too, like the lack of self-awareness, though, is still off the goddamn charts. It's most certainly over 9,000. DSP News.
Okay. So that's just one example. All right. Now, again, I'm just saying this in very general terms, the question that I had. That was it. Someone responds to this guy. And he says, I just want you to listen to this, and I want you to think about how this guy's mind works, all right? Just listen to this. He says, well, if we're talking about it as a whole, then that's something I somewhat agree. But if we're talking about DSP, it's 100% legit info, and people have every right calling him out on his bullshit. And the guy just responded, uh-huh. Okay? So let's just think about this. Confirmation bias.
Did you hear what I meant about the zeal and shit? Let's continue.
All right? Everyone's saying something about something that's probably or completely untrue, or at least it's unsubstantiated. But so many people say it that people have this clique or cult-like mentality. They believe it's true. All right? Gee, I wonder if that applies to me. I mean, there's only been 5 billion examples of everyday people completely making shit up or taking a snippet of truth and using conspiracy theory spinning to make it into something over-dramatic so that these idiots can get clickbait views on YouTube, cause drama, at my expense, you know?
Now, the thing is, I totally, when I posed this question on Twitter, wasn't applying it to me at all. I was just generally applying this question.
Do you really believe Phil would put a poll out there, a flash poll, about something that happens to him on the daily and not refer to him? Who was he referring it to? Pro Jared? The fall of Machinima? The helicopter company? Blip TV? Who was he referencing? Who the fuck does, ladies and gentlemen, let's be completely and totally honest with each other for a minute. Who does Phil admire more than anybody else in the world? Himself. Sorry if I answered a little too quickly, but it's himself. Phil loves only himself. He only cares for himself. And sadly, this online image bullshit is part of himself because he has nothing else to go to afterwards. So why the fuck would Phil ask you guys a question about someone else that's not him? Or it's not a situation that he couldn't spin it to make himself look good, look like the victim, look like he needs sympathy. I'm going to just go ahead and throw out a general question, but it has nothing to do with me, though. Really. Really. Sure. And when Alex Seidela hears the thumping that goes through the house and shit, it's just me and his mom cuddling. It's just me. It's me and Milf and Cookies cuddling. Maybe a tad bit too hard. Sure. Hey, whatever it takes to keep the wheels from squeaking on the way to the bathroom at night, buddy. Whatever it takes.
Curious how people were going to respond. The whole year was a lie. I was lying to myself, the viewers, and everyone.
But this guy's response is so hilarious because this guy, people say that I'm not self-aware, that I sometimes talk, like I don't practice what I preach, yada yada. Just listen to this fucking guy.
Well, you don't. Hence the reason why you breeze through that last part with the yada yada yada. Just throwing it out there.
To read this statement again, okay? It's just so mind-blowing. If we're talking about this as a whole, then I somewhat agree, but if we're talking about him, it's 100% legit info. People have every right calling him out on his bullshit. It's 100% legit info, this guy says. 100%. Even though there's been so many times over the years that the nonsense that idiots have said about me has been disproven. I mean, the biggest conspiracy theories out there, I think there were 2 of them. One of them was that I didn't actually have a girlfriend. I was lying to everybody about my girlfriend visiting me. And I actually had an escort that I was paying giant amounts of money and flying across the globe to visit me a few times a year. And that's where all my money was going. I was pissing money away paying for an escort and flying.
Well, first off, sorry, that money wasn't your money. That money was supposed to be going to help you with your financial situation. That's the first thing. Secondly, I mean, let's be honest, she was still somebody else's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was still somebody else's woman, and you were renting, to be honest. Just throwing it out there. It wasn't like she was completely... It wasn't like she was back on the market, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't exactly like that. She was kind of in and out. So, while she was catching that in and out. So, anyway, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of a thing. And like you said, and like was said, because he kind of consoled to it, at this time, you were begging for big money because you had this financial situation that was really fucking with you, and if you didn't want to lose everything, and you didn't want to lose your house, and also, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and put this out there, he wasn't a business around this time either. Remember that. That whole, everything up to that moment, oh, I'm a business, and I got to do everything to save my business. This is how successful business people have to, you know, run it or whatnot. Sometimes they need help from their customers and so on and so forth. And then around this time, we're not a business, in air quotes, and I need you guys' money because I'm in some really bad financial straits and I don't want to lose my house. And then all of a sudden, we have a woman that's flying in and out like 3 or 4 times before she finally came there, who lived thousands of miles away, if I remember what the lore was. Round trip. It wasn't like Catherine was paying for all those things. You guys want confirmation on that? I can help you out with that a little bit. How is it that when Catherine finally got there, first off, let's talk about what she sent to him. All she sent to him was her monitor, her computer, and that was pretty much it. Like, the way he made it sound, that's pretty much all he sent. And all that was waste. It was so heavy for Phil that he had to grab his special little handy dandy hand cart so he could get it all upstairs because it weighed more than 25 pounds and he didn't want to hurt his poor back. The same back, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that he initially moved to Seattle for so he could get it fixed. Hence the reason why he needed Panda, because he needed someone to take care of him while his back was recovering. But then all of a sudden we get to Seattle and magically the Seattle air basically activated his latent mutant ability and he grew extra muscles around his baby back to strengthen his back. It was wild. So that's the first thing. Secondly, and this girl only sent him basically some computer stuff and maybe some other miscellaneous shit, and that's it. When she got there, Phil was like, oh, well, we have to go and get her license, and we have to get her a cell phone, and we have to go and buy her clothes. He basically made it sound like that chick had nothing. He made it sound like she kind of just showed up with the clothes on her back, and that was it. Like she literally had nothing in hand. He made it sound like that. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. So, yeah, he can always say, oh, well, they said I had an escort and we didn't. Even though there was somebody out there pumping heavy, if you get the reference, that she was an escort and all that cover story and whatnot. And everybody took it as a grain of salt, but people still reported on it. People still talked about it because the shit was fucking crazy. Why does it happen to Darkside fucking Phil? Why is the random bullshit happen to Darkside fucking Phil? But at the end of the day, as I've said before, especially as of recent, whether it's Catherine or Kimberly, tomato. She wasn't yours. You spent quite a bit of money to have her come out there and spend time with you. You spent quite a bit of money while she was here with you, and then you spent a little bit of money to send her back. I mean, that sounds like renting to me. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're sending her back to her man. Subaru guy. So that sounds like renting to me. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keep popping the sharp suit. I don't know. But then, that's what it seemed like to me.
An escort across the globe. Okay? This 100% was confirmation bias. Everyone was talking about it. All these idiots. Everyone was saying it was factually true. There was zero evidence. Zero. Like, literally zero. But they all believed it for months and months and months and months until finally.
It wasn't even months. It was like 30 days. It was literally like 30 days that whole happened. It might have been maybe it was a little longer than 30 days. It was like 30 days. If you watch the Medicare video, it was about 30 days though. And then it got cleared up. And thank God for Medicare. Because, I mean, not to say that it wouldn't have gotten cleared up eventually, right? But Jesus Christ, who knows what Phil would have had to throw out there, you know what I'm saying, to try to defend himself. Which is kind of one of the great key points of the whole escort saga, is he had to divulge more information about Catherine, right? So he didn't look completely and totally like a laughingstock, which is funny, ladies and gentlemen, because that's counterintuitive to what he was supposed to be doing with Catherine in the first place. What we have is private. I'm not going to divulge anything about her. That's just us, and so on and so forth. That's how it was supposed to be. Then all of a sudden he had to start laying out all this information. Then all of a sudden we were getting these back shots of this chick and multiple pictures. Then all of a sudden, then he wants to go ahead and start divulging even more information about when she gets there and how, oh, I can tell you the guys this information because when she finally gets here and she's with me in the house, you know what I'm saying, we'll be safe because we have each other. Realistically, she was safer she was safer in Michigan than she ever really was with you. But then again, no one's going to run up on Catherine. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, even if they were going to scare her to get to you, it's easier just to scare you because we know where you're at. And all you got to do is jump one fence to get to Phil's front door. So let's be honest. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. But yet again, ladies and gentlemen, any normal person or any normal content creator, no one would have ever believed the shit around that happens like this. Like, for example, even with the Pro Jared situation, even then, initially people didn't believe it. There were more people who didn't believe it than otherwise. And then you had those two young dudes came out there and said that they were, I can't remember how old they were, but they were young. Or they said they were young. And then shit kind of got wild. And then people found that Tumblr group or whatever that was, and that whole shit snowballed. You know what I mean? But with Phil has zany, crazy shit that just happens around him. And usually it leads to even more crazier and zanier shit. And he's good for that. He's consistent for that. He's so consistent, ladies and gentlemen, that Phil Burnell is the ultimate unpaid bill. You know where he's going to be pretty much all week, pretty much all month, pretty much all year. And even when he's in a position to do right, he'll still do wrong. Like, that's the most reliable thing about Phil Burnell. And that's why I say failure must be anonymous, or must be synonymous, I should say, with the Burnell bloodline. It just must be something that happens. Because how else could you explain this? And then, ladies and gentlemen, most of you guys are going to be like, GTG, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Didn't he say that his uncle one of his uncles and aunts are fucking, junkies? And didn't he say that his cousin that was raised with him, you know what I'm saying, was taken out of their care and to live with him and be raised with him because her parents were in a bad way with drugs, and then not all of a sudden, but then eventually she ended up growing up to kind of following in that same path? How do we know all that? We don't. He told us. No one went out there to look for that shit. He told us. The reason why we know what his cousins' names are is because he told us. He's the one who said all that shit. No one just woke up one day and was like, hey, let's go ahead and say that DSP's uncle and aunt are junkies and that's why his cousin's a junkie. No one said that. No one said, Phil's aunt has gout. Oh, and she's a lesbian. Oh, and she broke when she died. No one told us, no detractor made that up. He told us that. He's the one who did that. He's the one who said that. He's the one who said that, Christmas one year, we went to my aunt's house and she passed out coal. And we went into our little stockings that they have hung up for us, and everybody got coal. But I got the biggest piece of coal than even my cousins did, and I broke down crying. And then my parents and my uncles and everything said, hey, come on, Philip, it's just a joke, it's just a joke. And yet he still stayed there crying like a little bitch. I didn't make that up. He said that. He told us that. You guys see the pattern? So we're supposed to believe him when it's convenient to him, but then when someone goes ahead and repeats what he said, all of a sudden it's a lie. All of a sudden they made it up. All of a sudden all you guys are gullible. Think about that for a minute.
The story fell the fuck apart. Okay? Right? So stupid. There was another time that everyone insisted that I was going on like a vacation or a staycation, and they were all we don't know where Phil's going, but we're speculating he's going here or here. One person actually contacted me or went online and said, oh, I have evidence that Phil booked a flight and all this crazy shit. None of it was true at all.
I hired an escort.
I mean, he probably booked the flight for Catherine. Actually, we know he booked the flight for Catherine. So what is he? So he's trying to take the same scenario, the escort thing in air quotes, right? He's going to use that scenario, which is really just the Catherine saga, if you think about it. Or the Kimberly/Catherine saga, because theoretically they're the same person. But anyway, whatever. So he's going to take an aspect of the Catherine saga and then cut a piece of that out and then try to go ahead and make another point out of it. Is that the only thing we've ever lied to? Is that the only thing? I'm sorry. Is that the only thing that the detractors have ever lied about him? Lied on him about? Is that really it? Just the escort saga? Is that the only thing you can clinch onto, Phil, with your little hooves? You got nothing else. You got nothing else except for that. And even then, all you do is you take Catherine, you just take Kimberly out and you insert Catherine in. And it's damn near the same situation. No, she wasn't an escort, but yes, she did have a man. And yes, you were paying for her to fly back and forth multiple times, round trip, to come see you when you were in a financial situation where you couldn't pay your bills and you thought you were going to lose your house and you didn't run a business. You're taking the smallest of shit and trying to disregard everything else that went with it. The people who thought it was an escort, they were wrong. No big deal. It really isn't a big deal. But what came out of that situation was fucking nuts. Because no one knew the full parameters of you and Catherine's relationship until that escort situation came out. And then something that he doesn't bring up unless he tries to use it in his defense, and it's usually pathetic and impotent, is the fact that there was a scamming couple who was running a catfishing empire for over a decade that chose to target you. And let me go ahead and put this out here for you guys. Let me bring this up for you guys. It's funny how Kimberly, halfway through the saga, said, oh, I finally got my money. We're good. And then she started up not long afterwards because Phil was talking shit. Let's rewind that. Now let's replay. It's funny how Kimberly said, oh, I got my money, we're all gravy, and kind of laid low for a little bit, and then came back and started the shit all up again because supposedly Phil was talking shit about her. But why would a catfishing empire say, why would a group of people conning an individual say, oh, we're all good now, he finally paid us, if they weren't paid? I want you to think about this, because at around the same time, Phil was in a mad dash for money. And Kimberly was asking for how much? $2,000-$3,000? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, they say they got paid. And then all of a sudden, she keeps quiet, and then all of a sudden, she starts all over again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's be realistic here for a minute. You guys have all heard the term that we don't negotiate with terrorists, right? Or you guys have heard the old adage that you don't ever pay the kidnappers. And why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because if you pay them once, you will more than likely do it again. So, and this is all just an assumption. This is hypothetical pignosis. You know this. It's our favorite game. What if, and I've said this before, so it's not like this is anything new, but what if Phil did pay them to make it stop? And they were like, oh shit, we got our money. All right, let's go ahead and go easy on them for a little bit. And then they were like, well, if we got the money out of him once, we can probably get the money out of him again. And so they did it, and so they did it again. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, they've been catfishing people for 10 years. And what's the greatest thing about being catfished and being paid for it? The fact that your victims, if they pay you, That shows you how serious they are about this not wanting to come back out. That they don't want to hear about this again. Which means what, ladies and gentlemen? It means that they may be willing to pay you again to make sure you stay quiet. So there's no reason not to cherry pick a victim if you can't. I mean, if you can. There's no deterrent to not do that. Phil Burnell is no different. And Kimberly had to been watching them pockets kind of close, even though Kimberly's fictional, but you know what I mean. Kimberly had to been watching that pocket kind of close to see what he was bringing in. So it kind of makes sense to me. Granted, ladies and gentlemen, what if? Hypothetical pig noses. Just throwing it out there, though. It was easy to let that shit get overlooked. And it kind of works to Phil's benefit that it does. Oh, ha ha ha, you guys were wrong because you guys believed the escort story. But then when you look at, like I said, when you look at the parameters of Catherine and him and his relationship, and then you look at this catfishing empire shit, it opens up a whole fucking, a whole piggy basket full of more questions. And there's little to no answers to a lot of that stuff. There's something to throw out there. DSP News.
To come visit me during my Christmas break. I paid her thousands of dollars. Phil had an escort and he's trying to pay the escort. That's what the fundraising stream is on Saturday. So you guys rallied at the end of last year. You were very supportive here on stream. So thank you for that. You guys are the reason why I'm still here right now. And you're the reason why my girlfriend Kat was able to move in last month.
None of it. Okay? But that's what I mean. It's confirmation bias. When so many idiots all say something is true, you all believe it. Now, how lack of self-aware can you be that you tell me...
Actually, my bad. SnortBucks was right. You know, Phil did, and you heard that in the last soundbite, Phil did confirm that you guys rallied, and I was able to use that money to move Catherine in. Which means, it ties into the fact that all the money that he was rallying around for taxes was really to just move her in. And if it wasn't for the escort saga, he may have been able to walk away with some of that for clean. Clean. He might have been able to walk away on that. Just something to throw out there.
I'm not self-aware. I have complete lack of self-awareness.
Right? But it doesn't apply to you, apparently. Right? Because you could say, oh, I totally believe that this happens all the time on YouTube, except for Phil. Phil's always 100% true. It's like, what? There's empirical, factual evidence out there that time and time again, people have made shit up completely. And there's been confirmation bias around it, but you're so dumb that you believe it.
It's funny, too, because I don't remember him ever saying confirmation bias before this moment. And don't get me wrong, I mean, every day that you draw breath, you should learn something new. But it's funny how when Phil learns something new, it's something to make him seem weak and a victim. Oh, well, semantics, I'm sure.
You see? So what I have to honestly do, is take a look at the poll results. And what the poll results are telling me is that people believe dumb shit just because they want to. Okay?
And what's the point of any of that? Like, what does that really mean? Oh, congratulations, you have a poll that confirms something that you already know. Good for you. You can't, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, you can't fix it. So what is this supposed to do? Is this supposed to help kind of, I don't know, contain the nest, the rest of the roach nest, I guess? Is this supposed to strengthen them? Is this like a team building fucking seminar or some shit that we're doing right now? What is this? Either way, it has no worth to it, but what's the point of this? You're telling a bunch of saps something that they already know, or something that they want to believe. You're telling it to them when most of them innately believe it anyway. They believe that the people that they're going up against are biased and just want to see your downfall, and that's that. So why do you feel the need to continue to drive it home? Either they believe you or they don't. And the hardcore base isn't going anywhere until one of them falls like Vidal did. Then we'll find out, to be honest. Because when Vidal fell initially, when Brett Viking fell, I initially thought that most of that shit would crumble because of how long he's been around and the amount of money he was given, or he had given, I should say, and how quickly he fucking fell under his battle axe. You would have thought some people would have woke up then, and some people did. But not everybody. But then again, a lot of them had problems with him anyway, so a lot of them wanted him gone. So, or at least some of them anyway. So that is what that was, I suppose. But if Brightside Viking isn't a cautionary tale of what being loyal to a fault was to Phil Burnell, I don't know what is. Out of all of Phil's minions, out of anybody, by far, Brightside Viking was Phil's right-hand man. He was his sergeant at arms. He's his general. He was all those things. He wasn't just some dude, not that I mean to big up him or anything, because, you know, the color of my skin apparently offends him. But it's not the fact that, it's not just the idea that he was Phil's sergeant at arms and shit. It wasn't just he gave him a lot of money. He was someone that Phil confided in. You know what I'm saying? Like when Phil had a problem, he went to Brightside Viking. Like that's his first action. He isn't like some of these other dudes that are just out there to be abused, if you will. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Brightside Viking had a purpose. And look at what he did to him. Just throwing it out there.
It's not because they're actually dumb. And it's not because they're gullible. It's because they want to. All right? Now, you might want to say, well, why do people want to believe things that probably are fake? And why do people want to spread possible falsities as facts about a person? And you got to think about that on a psychological level, right? Why would someone want to do that?
Dark side Phil the lol cow. They call me a lol cow. I'm the lol cow. He's our lol cow.
And the answer is very simple. Because they're fucking losers who have nothing going on in their own lives. It's that simple. It's not because they're dumb. It's not because they're gullible. It's because they're fucking losers. You have nothing going on in your life at all. Nothing positive, nothing interesting, nothing fun. So instead, you manufacture fun for yourself, right? My life is boring.
So are you saying that making fun of you is fun? That's the first thing. Secondly, they're not dumb, they're not stupid, they're losers. Like, I don't really understand that one, because Phil has used all of those things at once, right? So now we're dumbing it down a little bit and saying, oh, well, they're not dumb, or they're not stupid, but they're definitely losers. Well, you're not even a loser, you're a failure, which is worse. So does that make you dumb? Does that make you stupid? And we have a 37-year-old man who's talking about fun. You're not a fucking kid, first off. Second off, your life is what you make of it. That's the next thing. The next point is you've had a whole lot of fun at your own expense and at others. And look at where it got you. I want you to think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. We got this idiot right here who has the nerve to tell you what somebody is and isn't, and what somebody knows and what they don't know, right? While he sits down, and plays games terribly online. And I can't even say he does it for a living, because look at what his living actually is. A woman that he took from somebody else who probably didn't really want her at that point anyway. A declawed cat that either A, they rescued from the shelter and then he had the cat declawed, or B, his story that the cat just showed up declawed. Which both of them are a possibility. Seems odd, but both are a possibility. And the main thing that comes out of his life is, oh, they don't have anything interesting going on. They don't have anything they don't have positive lives. They don't do anything fun. But what does he do? He sits down every day and begs for money. Is that supposed to be fun? He sits there and plays games that are obviously too challenging for someone who falls on his intellectual bell curve, right? And he gets mad when people in the chat don't help him. And then he has to take breaks and go and cheat and watch other people's YouTube videos to get through them. Is that supposed to be fun? Is that supposed to be intriguing? This is the same idiot who puts his whole existence and self-worth on a 20-plus-year-old fighting game that no one gives a flying fuck about. And the ones who do are handing him his ass and he has to run from them. Is that fun? But the thing is when he fails in real life, ladies and gentlemen, he runs from those situations too. Well, that's amazing, because that means that's the establishment of a pattern. Is it not? Phil does something in real life. It goes south because he's a fucking idiot, so he runs from it to something else. Phil wants to play Super Turbo, runs into Evil AJ, can't beat him, or at least can't beat him clean, can't beat him legit, and then has to run. Then he runs into a couple of guys that we don't know and gets his ass handed by them too. Then he cries and runs over, and then runs over to either Third Strike, which he tried to do that a couple streams, got bodied after a while, or Alpha, which he says is completely terrible, but it was the only thing he was catching some wins on in a little while until he ran into some dudes that were good at Alpha 3. And then Street Fighter 2, that's a joke in itself. Super Turbo is the only thing that he's really actually good at. And that's it. And he can't run from that because that's all he has. That's why he sat there and put that shit on the... He put that shit in front of the firing squad a little while ago and said, hey guys, you know, Super Turbo might have to go away if you guys don't start supporting me. You know, if you guys don't, you know, start coming out and contributing, you know, it might have to go away. But he didn't want it to go away because what else did he have to put in its slot? He had nothing else. PUBG has already been axed. What else does he have for the chill stream? Minecraft? And I feel like he's ready to Minecraft himself in Minecraft. Because he's saying that the projects that people are paying for are becoming too extravagant. So what else does he have? Oh, Blackout? He doesn't want to play that. Oh, Modern Warfare? He realizes that he's inept playing that game, and he wants to wait for the Battle Royale. Or Battle Royale. And he's going to fail at that too. He's going to get bodied super early. If that ever comes, or whenever that actually comes out. So what else does he have? Realistically. What else does he actually have? I've already dismantled the whole chill stream part there. All that's gone. So what else does he have? All he has is Super Turbo. Or a Street Fighter Collection. That's the only thing he has. That's it. Nothing else. And every week that he plays that is every week he falls deeper and deeper into the abyss that either A, he was never that good, or B, his skills are diminishing. I still debate that he didn't have a whole lot of skill, to be honest. He says he knew the game inside and out. He says he's been playing the goddamn thing for 20 years, and yet he admits that he finds out new stuff every day. Oh, I don't know this matchup. I don't know that matchup. Week 1, oh, I know everything about this game. I know this game inside out. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the best at it. A 4th place, you know, highest ranked American Super Turbo player. Next week, oh man, I never saw that. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that. Oh shit, that shouldn't work. That wouldn't have worked in the landline games. That wouldn't have worked if you played that in the arcade. Week 3, oh shit. Oh wow. Lag. It was lag. That's what it is. This is all lag tactics. This would never work in the arcades at all. Ever. Ever. Week 4. Oh wow. Yeah, he's really, wow, he's really good. I'd never seen anybody do that before. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I felt like it was a little laggy on my end, but yeah, that guy was that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And I'm not even throwing out all of the little excuses he has in between. And trust me, he has plenty. He has plenty. Just throwing it out there.
I'm very sedentary in my lifestyle. I don't move a lot, being honest. I see.
Anyway, sorry. That kind of triggers something. So, back to the whole thing about people don't have good lives, or people, excuse me, or people have miserable lives and so on and so forth. What does he do, ladies and gentlemen? He sits down on his love seat 6 days a week and begs for money, and that's it. He doesn't go outside, except for that 1 day a week, and he only goes with his wife. He doesn't leave the house without her. So what else does he do all day? He does his garbage, and then he watches what is allegedly detractor trash. All day. He's on detractor Twitter. He's watching detractor channels. That's all he does all day, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, his life. There's nothing else. Because what you've seen on stream with Catherine and what goes on in their real life, I assume there is very few degrees of separation. Very few. And Jasper don't even really hang out with Phil if Catherine's home. So, you think when he's not streaming and whatnot, Jasper's just all over him all day if Catherine's there? Stop that. You think really when he stops streaming and Catherine's off, they go downstairs and watch TV together? Stop that. Whatever she's doing when he's streaming is what she's doing when he's not streaming. That's the reality. And since she only sees him for the full day, 1 day a week. I mean, don't you think 1 day a week, ladies, is more than enough time to smell spam? Do you really need to do that every day? I mean, there's a reason why the meme's going around that she may sleep in her office. Just saying. I mean, granted, though, too, he kind of confirmed that because he said his snoring is so bad that some days he wakes up and she's not even there. And then she's like, yeah, your snoring is so bad, so I left in the middle of the night. Which he kind of confirmed. Whatever. Just wink, wink, nudge, nudge, oink, oink. Just throwing it out there. But yet, everybody else has a miserable life. Despite the fact that all the aspects of his life is out there to be criticized. Because he put it out there for profit. Of course it's going to get scrutinized and it's going to be made fun of and mocked and everything else. What did you expect? You're a lolcow. That's what you're supposed to do. You didn't have to be this way, but you chose to be this way. And it's the consequences.
You're on the couch streaming all day long most days.
And I don't really want to think about my life or talk about my life. What I'd like to do is go online every day and make something up about someone on the internet and believe it as a fact and pass it as a fact so that we can all laugh collectively at it in a cult mentality, right? That's what it is. You have no fucking life for yourself. You are the dregs of society if this is what you do. You know, if you actually have a life and you have friends and you have a fun, productive thing going on in your life, whether it's a job, a hobby, you know, a significant other, whatever.
Where's your friends at, Phil? Oh, that's right. You basically screw them over for profit. I forgot. My bad.
It may be. You focus on the positive. You focus on the good stuff in your life. You don't focus on trying to make someone else's life miserable so you can get your jollies off. You don't.
But your life is already miserable. So, all I'm doing is laughing at it. That's all anybody ever does. Like, your life is already miserable. You did that all on your own. Was I supposed to just go ahead and drive by and give a defiant sniff and that was it? No, I'm going to laugh at the shit because I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely fucking hilarious. I mean, I don't pity you. Not fucking all. At times, I feel the smallest iota of, like, sympathy for you. At times. But then I've come to the realization, but I knew this before I even started all this, that giving you sympathy was never a good idea. I had seen greater detractors before myself do that shit, and I thought it was dumb then. It's definitely dumb now. Because people like you aren't meant to be sympathized with. You're not meant to have pity. It's just not how that works. Sadly, people like you are to be laughed at, and if one is willing to take it there, you're meant to be used. You're meant to be profited off of. And what I mean profited off of, I mean like what Quarter Pounder did. You know what I mean? It didn't work out for him because he sucked your dick a little too much, but it's kind of like that. That's what that was. You know what I mean? And granted, that was the only way he could get you into the chair, he could get you in the position. It was still rather pathetic. With that being said, I don't necessarily condone what drunken peasants did either. Trying to sympathize with you and try to find camaraderie. Nah, I knew that wasn't gonna work because you looked at them as their namesake is, peasants. And no disrespect when I say that, but that's how he looked at them. He looked at them as nothing more than peasants, that they were beneath him. And if he couldn't control the narrative, right, then why the fuck does he need to go over there and fraternize with them? And one of the reasons why, because of that, that kind of fuels that mindset, is because they were looking for him. He wasn't looking for them. So if you're seeking Phil out, that means, in his head, that means you need him. And that right there was already not a good look. And then trying to play up to Phil's, to his ego and to what you would perceive to be his strengths weren't going to be a good idea anyway. I don't know how good Billy the Fridge is at Street Fighter, but I mean, I'm sure he could probably hold his own. And then, more importantly, I think Phil knows that too, because if Phil was beaten by Billy, I think his name is Billy, or Billy the Fridge, I think his name is. If he actually lost to that dude on console, right? And we're not talking about online, we're talking land here. If he lost to Billy, he'd have been fucked. Because then it's definite that you're not that good. At least definitely not now. So you have a member of the Drunken Peasants who beat Darkside Phil in their studio, and that shit may have been streamed or it may have been recorded. No, that's not going to do. Because, as I had already stated, ladies and gentlemen, Street Fighter is all he has. And then, I'd like to think, despite the whole campaign to try to get Phil on and all the mental missteps that came into that shit, I'd like to think if they got Phil into a conversation that they'd be able to finagle him into a position where they could get him into, they might actually be able to get him to talk about something. Or they get him to back down live on air, and Phil can't have that. So then what? You put Phil into literally a no-win situation, at least for him. There's no real incentive. Even if those guys paid him, it's not worth the humiliation, because Phil knows his pain is worth profit. And it's worth more profit to other people than himself. Hence the reason why he hates people like LSB and Tevin. Because those guys profit off of him in a way that he can't even profit off himself. Not without lying, not without putting himself into another situation, not without retconning something that he's going to get pulled up, he's going to get called out upon later. It's literally a vicious circle that Phil can never get out of. And the detractor community is structured in such a way that anybody and everybody can benefit from the streamers, or from the restreamers, I should say, all the way down to those who do the edited videos, to those who do commentary, and those who do everything else. There's literally an industry around Darkside Phil. And when you look at like the Drunken Peasants, and when you look at Quarter Pounder, these are just individuals that were trying to break into that market. And how do you break into that market? You break into the one part of that market that has not been touched yet, the interviewing. That's what it comes down to. And the thing is looking at it from the Quarter Pounder standpoint, you don't go about it that way, because you're not going to get anything. All you're doing is getting a bunch of lies. And even then, what did it do? The restreamers, if anybody restreamed it, and then it just trickles down to everybody else in that same industry, right? In that same detractor industry, who sat there and tore that shit the fuck up, made Phil look even more of a liar, even more of a lolcow, even more of a fucking misfit, and he still lost. And this is, I would assume Quarter Pounder paid him, but even whatever it was that Jeremy paid him wasn't worth it, if you think about it. And then Quarter Pounder still didn't come through on his end of the deal and promoted him. Or he didn't promote him, I should say. So at the end of the day, he lost. Phil lost big. And he got nothing out of it. And he knows he didn't. And we know that because he lied and said, oh, all these people came in who saw the Quarter Rings video and you know, this, that, and the third. They may have showed up for a stream or two, but now they're gone. Just like your hopes, dreams, aspirations, and antiperspirant, all this shit is gone. It disappeared. It is what it was. You know what I mean? Same thing with Panda when Panda was with you. All the sex was gone. You know, it is what it was. And she dealt with it for a little while and then she left. Same shit.
It's just true. So let's generate outrage. Let's generate drama. Let's generate all this. So that now, since there's nothing for me positive to focus on in my life, I can ruin someone else's. And it's anonymous and it's safe and no one gets in trouble for it. And some of these assholes...
That's a nice promotion of doxing, Phil. Good job. Monday Matt, I'm sure, would be proud.
Get positive benefit out of it. They get to make money on YouTube because YouTube allows that disgusting defamatory content, right?
Wait, think about it, Phil. Didn't Rich from Review Tech USA... I don't know if I'd say he doxed that guy, but he put didn't Rich attempt to dox somebody on Twitter once? He put the guy's full name and he put his state out there. Like the state the guy lived in. I don't even know if he put the city too. I don't know if you would actually consider that a dox though. I'm not. I mean, well, he put the guy's full name out there. I know that. I'm pretty confident he put the guy's full name out there. Does anybody remember that? What was that guy's name? He did reactionary content to Review Tech USA. The guy, dark hair, used to wear glasses. Like he had like a stand-up comedian type delivery and shit. It was something killer. It was something killer. Is it 1316? Oh, that's just gonna bother me now. I think that guy's name was 1316 Killer. Fuck. Either that or that's a Zodiac. Either that or that's a Zodiac killer copycat. Fuck. I want to say that's what the guy's name was, or his YouTube name anyway. And didn't Rich put his full name out in a tweet a long time ago? I'm gonna have to look that up now because now it's just gonna bother me. But you know, Rich is good for that too.
Tory toast. Salud.
So it's hilarious to me that the same people, right? The same exact people who on a daily basis tell me that I'm always messed up, I'm in the wrong, I'm not self-aware, and I'm just, a horrible person. Question them the same way, all of a sudden, oh, well, no, you see, what you're saying is true, this does exist completely on YouTube, but not with Phil. No, of course not. It's like, no, you're just an idiot. You don't want to admit to yourself that you are part of this whole thing because you're a fucking idiot. And you just, how dare you ever take responsibility for anything, right? I mean, that would actually be something mature. But that's the truth. These people are completely immature. They have horrible lives, and this is why they do this shit, So, I just found this funny. A poll that I put up innocently, and really, I'm being honest here, the poll didn't necessarily apply to anything. The poll was just a general thing that I put up on Twitter just to see how, how people would vote and respond. I was curious. I want to do it as like a social experiment kind of a thing.
Silver-tongued talker, right?
You mean that same type of social experiment shit that he used to shit on in the past and whatnot? And said, like reactionary content was worthless? Just like how he used to shit on the pranking community? Worthless? Okay. Dark Side Phil from Twitter wants to conduct a social experiment. About just in general. Not about him at all. Not trying to test the waters to see what people think about him and shit. Or his haters. So he can figure out a way to go ahead and finagle that into something in a pre-stream to send people out after them. No, not at all. It was just in general, dude. That's all it was. Like when he went after Pro Jared, it wasn't a targeted attack at Pro Jared. He was merely giving his opinion about a situation that may or may not have involved some dude dressed up as a Sailor Moon character. There's a lot of dudes that dress up like Sailor Moon characters. It's coincidence that Pro Jared popped up in that.
Oh, I'm just going to say it one way, and hopefully you'll believe it, even though that's not the truth. And that's literally what's happening here. The guy's a liar. The guy's a fucking blatant liar and lying to everyone. But people are believing it because they don't know any better.
And the response I got was just so crazy, holy shit, like this 100% explains it all. That these people are just not self-aware. They are aware that this confirmation bias thing exists, but they don't want to believe it applies to them because they're the ones who lack self-awareness. And by the way, I'm not saying that I don't lack self-awareness. I'm sure that a lot of times I do. But how hypocritical, right? As they say, let the man who has not sinned cast the first stone. But they don't care about that. They don't want to look at themselves because, sadly, I'm the public figure, so I'm the one who gets, roasted. I'm the one who gets burned at the stake for this, every little thing that I do, while they're safe hiding in their fucking...
It's not even every little thing that you do, it's every little thing that you've done. You've done quite a bit. Which I can't wait to get back into that shit, because there be gold in them gouty hills. There be gold. It might be slimy, but it's gold, though. I promise you, it's gold. Like I said, you're not some fucking saint. And you can sit there and say that, oh, you've been doing this for such and such years and you were an inspiration to such and such people and yada, 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 yada. Where are those people at to defend you? Because some of the people who defend you, some of them, are kind of just pieces of garbage like you. To be honest. And either they were that way before they found you or they were made that way because of you. Either way is not good. Come on, Phil. Like, if you actually had to sit there because you want to keep talking about writing books because... Oh, it's funny. He wants to keep writing books because when... I think Ninja had a book come out on him. Phil shitted on that. And then PewDiePie had a book, which Phil, one of the rare days he left his house, went by Target or wherever it was, saw his book, read, didn't even read through it. He flipped through some pages and shitted all over that and talked about it on a pre-stream or a weekend preview. One of the two. Unprovoked, by the way. It wasn't like PewDiePie sent Phil a copy of his book and was like, hey, what do you think about this? Phil went ahead and just shitted on it because that's what Phil likes to do. Right? All unprovoked, right? You know? It wasn't like PewDiePie was thinking about Dark Side Phil, you know what I'm saying? When Phil was talking about his book, right? It is what it is. And then Phil didn't even read the damn thing. So how much of it did he even grasp? No, that was just him having his hate boner for fucking PewDiePie. And why? Because the guy is successful? Oh, I'm sorry. Does everybody need to be a failure like Darkside Phil so everybody can be in the same goddamn wagon? But then when Phil rises in whatever rare occasion that is because the bodies are starting to fucking, you know, pile up under him, then all of a sudden we're supposed to praise you? Like, stop. Stop.
Hidey holes, wherever they may be, anonymous on the internet, trying to poke fun at someone else, when in reality they're probably even worse off, but they're not the public figure, so we don't get to see their foibles and their fuck-ups, right?
Well, first off, I'm not bankrupt. I'm not foreclosed. I didn't have to steal another dude's woman, but then again, like I said, he probably didn't really want her at that point anyway, so it was easy to let that go. I'm not the one that sat there and had to exploit a declawed animal for profit. I'm not the one that begs daily. I'm not the one that's milking my parents and waiting for them to die so I can cash in on that shit to cover my own debts. You know what I mean? Like, you're a failure in every sense of the word. I didn't have to abandon my friends for a fucking shitty-ass YouTube channel that ends up not meaning shit to you anyway. You know what I mean? It's an archive channel now. You gave up John for a fucking archive channel? You lost Panda over an archive channel? How retarded does that sound? But that's what the reality is. You're a fucking idiot. And everything that you put, and you want to say, oh, because I'm a public figure. No one told you to put your whole life out there for profit. That's the reality. You chose to do that. Fair enough. Long live the king. End of story. You had your, you got your little gold crown. You know what I'm saying? You had your little trinkets and shit. You proved that you're a hoarder for sure. And now all that shit's gone. The underage chick is gone. You know what I'm saying? All the money's gone. All the friends is gone. Most of the fanfare is gone. And now look. You're stuck with residuals. And that shit can barely even pay bills. That's why you're going bankrupt. But everybody else is but the people who make fun of you, though, are worse off than you are. Sure. Absolutely. That makes a whole lot of fucking sense. A whole lot of sense. Never thought. Never thought. You can't question that, ladies and gentlemen. It's the reality.
So, there you go. I just thought that was pretty interesting. I thought I would talk a little bit about that. Okay.
The bottom line is, guys, I view all of you as independent, intellectual, intelligent individuals who have actively chosen to come on my streams, watch my stuff, and have fun with me. You know what I stand for. You know the kind of person I am. You enjoy either my personality or the way I play games or the rage or whatever it may be. You like me for some reason, and you're here to have a good time. And that's all I care about. I don't need to create some kind of a weird mob mentality, all right, which is exactly what it is. It creates a cultish mob mentality that people need to now blindly support someone because they're part of a group. And if you want to see me
listening to him say that last little bit, I assume that's what it would sound. That's what it would feel like to be lathered in grease, because you just feel gross. You just feel disgusting listening to that. You really do. Like, he's literally sitting. It's like he's taking bacon grease and saying. He's literally saying, "Oh, just don't worry about it. Just let the gout seep into you. You'll be okay." That's what that. Ugh. You know, it's funny because some people say, when they talk, like when you meet somebody who you know is a scumbag and a con man, like the more they talk, like you can kind of feel the snake slithering up you, ready to bite you and shit. It's kind of like that. Like people will actually refer to Paul Heyman. A lot of people say Paul Heyman's like that. Like you can, like when you talk to him, you know you can't trust him. You know you can't trust him, and whatnot. And you're just kind of waiting for him to strike. It's kind of like that. Yikes. Well, hopefully, I don't know if Paul Heyman's like that now, but definitely back in those early ECW days, that's how a lot of people felt. Yikes.
Continue to be successful and keep doing this for a living, you gotta support in other ways. You know, whether it's watching the streams and cheering, subbing, and tipping while I'm here on Twitch, or pledging to my Patreon, or buying something for my Teespring, you know, no matter what it might be, I'm gonna need that support right now more than ever.
Mr. Papavera did a 50-bit cheers. I feel that people like to point the finger. They're more often... Wait a minute. Let's try this again. I'm not reading this properly. I feel that people that like to point the finger are more often than not being hypocritical or even projecting so that they can point the finger right back at themselves. Right? Yeah. And that's like I said earlier.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Not you, Papavera. I mean, you're an idiot too, Papavera, for sure. Like, you have a ridiculous amount of talent and you wasted it on this fuck. But whatever, you know, it's your time. Do what you want to do with it. Phil, you're an idiot for condoning that. Because as many times that you've shitted on other people, you're literally saying, oh, well, listen, Mr. Papavera, you just threw money at me, so I'm just going to immediately say yes to you. And you went ahead and regurgitated what he said or what he wrote, and you didn't even think. Because, Phil, going by Papavera's logic, every time you took shots at other people, when you criticized other people, when you shitted on people, you were kind of shitting on yourself too. That's kind of how that plays out. Just throwing that out there, Phil. Maybe you didn't catch that. Maybe Papavera is a lot like King of Hypocrisy, and he's just really good at low-key shitting on you. It's very possible. Fucking idiot. Humiliate himself for money. It's crazy.
We're so critical to me and say that I have no self-awareness are probably the least self-aware people. They don't want to believe that they're part of a weird cultish mentality, believing horse shit with no factual substantiation at all. It's just controversy and half-truths and things spun to look like they're real when in reality there's no actual evidence of anything. It's a pretty messed up situation. So I agree with you. Thank you for the cheer. Phil's Blunt. Took me $1. You compare the cult of detractors to Scientologists. It seems like both groups engage in tons of groupthink and mob mentality. I don't know that much about Scientology. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 specials about it. Over the year, I saw one documentary about it on Netflix at one point. I don't know. I don't want to speak to it and not know what I'm talking about. But it's definitely a cultish mentality, which is hilarious because people used to say to me that remember DSP cult leader from a decade ago? Oh, Phil, all your fans are cult followers, man. And they like, no, my fans are people who actually watch my content and like what I do. That's why they watch. You know what I mean? It's not because of some insane indoctrination or crazy shit. It's because they actually like the content that I put up. Back then it was YouTube videos. Today it would be streams. They don't just watch insanely...
You know what's ironic? He actually had more control over people through YouTube videos in a more impersonal way, so to speak, than he does now streaming. That's hilarious.
Fabricated, you know, controversial drama videos and just fall into this weird drinking the Kool-Aid mentality of believe everything. They're just nuts, those people. I don't get it, man.
But yet again, Burnell brings up a good point. Gamer J. Lee admitted that for whatever reason that you watched Phil, you watched him and he wanted to believe everything that Phil was saying. Or he wanted to believe, you know, Phil was an alright guy. Even when his own father, okay, Gamer J. Lee's father, the fucking MVP, was like, after meeting Phil for probably less than 10 minutes, he's upstairs, he's knocking back some brewskis, he's knocking back, you know what I'm saying, a glass of wine or a whiskey or whatever the case may be. And his son comes in, right? And he looks over at him and he's like, yeah, what's that guy's name? Darkside Phil? DSP? Yeah, that's him, Dad. Yeah, he's a piece of shit and he ain't gonna amount to nothing. And what did Gamer J. Lee say? Oh, well, you know, it feels alright, Dad. And his father was like, nah, he's garbage. He's never gonna amount to nothing. Sorry, son. I didn't want to go ahead and pop your balloon for you. Wrestling is fake, or wrestling is staged. It's fake. Wrestling is staged, And Darkside Phil's a piece of fucking garbage, and he ain't never gonna amount to nothing. And boy, oh boy, business is booming ever since. Ain't that right, Phil? Ain't that right, Phil? Right.
But no, my fans aren't like that, right? They just like what I do, and they want to see me keep doing it.
Hello, my children. Kids are idiots. Kids are complete idiots. So thanks a lot for the views, you stupid fucking retarded morons. I love it when I fool all of you into being fucking idiots like you are, and you basically pay me for nothing. So thanks a lot.
Snow Carl tipped me $1.
There you go. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. He's just, I mean, shit. It is what it is.
Have you considered adding a cheer total to the donation count or adding the cheer total to the overall donation goal? No, because first of all, there's no donation goal. It doesn't exist. It's a tips goal. Tips are different from donations. They're classified differently legally, and that's what you guys are doing. If you tip me, you're not donating, you're tipping to me, okay? You're tipping me for a service.
I'm an evil, dirty, heinous scammer.
Wow, look at that face. Anyway, Phil, yeah, they are donating to you. You can go ahead and spin it like it's tips, right? Because you don't want to make it seem like it's sympathetic or whatnot. I don't necessarily know what the legal definition, which he's trying to draw out. I don't see the point in it per se, right? And it wouldn't even apply to him. I would think it wouldn't apply to him in such a way anyway, because either way he's gonna have to report it. But it's certainly donations. It's certainly people having to pity you so you can keep going. No one sits there and tips Phil and says it's a good job. Because guess what? Phil has probably been begging for the last hour plus leading up to that tip, right? That he's so quick to thank you and give you prayer hands and all that pathetic nonsense. Let's be honest. It's all fucking donations. All of it. Each and every goddamn part of it. It's all fucking charity. And just accept it and move on. You're a failure. And the only way that people can prop you up is to give you sympathy bucks. Just live with that shit. You don't have a choice. It's not going to change anything. It is what it is. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the reason why he doesn't want to accept it as charity or donation, is because it didn't have to be this way. He made more than enough money that this idiot, because look at him, he looks like a fucking idiot, because he is a fucking idiot, he could have been fine. He could have been. Was he going to live high off the hog forever? No. But he could have had plenty of money in the bank, right? He was a fucking, you know what I'm saying? He didn't need 14 goddamn credit cards, or 13, whatever. He didn't need a bunch of business loans. He didn't need any of that shit. All he needed to do was live in his fucking means and listen to the people who were making him money. And he couldn't do that. He wanted to do things his way. He wanted to spend his money this way, his way. And he's one of the... I'm really shocked by this. He's one of the few people who I've ever heard who's worked for a financial institution and didn't believe in investing. He doesn't believe in saving, to be honest. Fuck investing. He doesn't believe in saving. He would rather have everything basically on loan, which is the reason why he lives off his credit cards the way he does. He wants, if he can get the maximum amount of money out of you for basically, you know, on credit, you know what I mean? Like, if he had the more, let me reword that. If he could get the maximum amount of credit, yeah, that works out. If he could get the maximum amount of credit out of you with little to no collateral, he'd do it. If Phil could literally mortgage his soul, he would do so. Because in Phil's head, oh, I'm going to die anyway, so, you know, it's all about the now. And that's literally how Phil lives. It's about the now. It's not about what's going to happen later. And that's the exact reason why this ass clown is where he's at now. Because he cared more about indulging himself and wanting to look like a goddamn big shot, like this was some shitty 80s movie, instead of thinking about what his future was. Which he didn't have one, because his ass clown doesn't think about his future. And since he didn't think he had one, he never planned for it. Do you really think this mental midget monkey thought was gonna sit there and do YouTube videos for the rest of his goddamn life, and he was gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing it? He actually thought that. And look at him. With a bunch of props sent to him by mommy. Couldn't even buy his own decorations. Mommy had to send that shit to him. But yet we're the assholes. We're the no-life idiots. When he's literally, he's drowned. He has drowned. Either A, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to get lucky and skew by on that Chapter 7. B, he's going to go ahead and get hit with Chapter 13 and be a slave for the rest of his goddamn life, which is more than likely what's going to happen to him. Or C, the court's basically like, fuck you, and they let the wolves out on him, and they all sue his ass, and he walks away with literally nothing. And I think A is off the table. I personally think Chapter 7 is off the table. It's 13. It's going to be either Chapter 13 or he's going to get sued. There's too much money on the table to let this ass clown get away with that. And after what he pulled on the 5th, there's no reason to let someone like this slide. At all. Milk his ass for everything he's worth. And if you got to go ahead and put some of the ties on his dead parents, let him. Do it. If you got to put a lien on Phil's house and put a lien on Phil's parents' house, do it. Take the Burnell family for everything that they're worth. If you have to. And trust me, if those banks need to, they'll do it. That's what it really comes down to. So this social experiment shit doesn't mean not a goddamn thing when he's literally on the verge of losing everything. And just imagine Phil literally going to have to be, if he does go into Chapter 13, he's at someone else's beck and call for the rest of his goddamn life. He'll never be able to make a move about anything, ever. Because there's going to always be someone else wanting their money. So, Phil, with his little business and all that bullshit, nah. Welcome. Congratulations, bitch. You just became an employee. So go out there, be a good hoe, make us our money. Make us our money. Or we sue the shit out of you and we take everything from you. And then he's not going to have no choice. And then wait and see what Phil Burnell is going to be like then. Wait and see how Darkside Phil's content's going to be like then. When he needs to make sure that he has a certain amount of money for those banks collectively each and every month. Watch how he's going to scramble then. And he has to do that every month. Wait and see how he cracks the fuck up then. Wait and see how he falls apart then. You guys want a social experiment? I'll give you guys one. Wait and see how that shit works out after this shit is all said and done. And they put him on a payment plan or whatever the case may be if he goes into Chapter 13. Watch how his ass is then. Because whatever fucking heat that Catherine's getting him is going to translate right. It's going to translate right into Phil, and that's just going to translate right on those streams. You're going to see him become way more irritable, way more frustrated. You're going to see him start. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to start throwing controllers like Jordy, but boy, oh boy, sorry, I'm getting caught up on my shit. You're going to see that his temperament is going to change drastically. And it's going to be one day, he's going to be red hot, big mad. And then the next day, he's going to be depressed as fuck. And you're literally... So the social experiment, ladies and gentlemen, is how long is Darkside Phil going to last like that? You're going to literally watch a man slowly... Well, you've been watching a man slowly die anyway. But now you're going to literally watch a man rip himself apart for somebody else. Because Phil is always like the idea that he's the boss. This is his company. This is his business. So on. That's the shit that he says now. That now all of a sudden this is a company and yada 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 yada. Well, how's it gonna feel that now his company is being leveraged, and now he owes somebody else, and he better have their money. So all of his air quotes hard work is gonna immediately go into somebody else's pockets, probably even before he sees it. And he's going to be given just enough to survive. How frustrated do you think Phil's going to be on that? The one thing that he's tried to tell these kids and these wheelchair symbols and everything else for all these years that he's a self-made man and this, that, and the third. Now he's somebody else's bitch. And he's going to be that way probably for the rest of his life. And even if he does pay them off in a timely manner, he still has nothing. He still has nothing. Because all those years, he thought he was a big shot. All those years, he made all that crazy money. He blew it on bullshit. On childish, stupid shit. And now he has to pay for it. Shit that he don't even care about. Most of that shit he don't even own anymore. And now he's going to owe these banks all their money back, probably with interest. That's the real social experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Shit should be interesting. DSP News.
Steals money from little children.
Or a good. You like the service that I performed or the good that I'm providing and you want to give me something to keep that going. It's not a donation. Donations are considered more for non-for-profits and things like that. Okay? That's number one. Number two, no, we're not doing anything with bits or cheers. Why? I'll tell you why. Because it's actually against the rules of Twitch to have those kind of things. Alright? Twitch actually considers bits something that you have to legally talk about in a certain way. Because per the legal terms of Twitch, bits do not have any monetary value at all. Alright? So, because of that, that's why you can't have those kind of things. It doesn't exist, okay? You can't. If you do, you're actually violating Twitch's terms of service, and you can get in trouble for it as a partner. So, I don't want to do that. I'm happy, listen, I'm happy for any contributions, and I told you guys many times, but really it's the tips that help me out the most, and that's what I need right now, so, okay?
Cliffy Bureau Cheers says, do you stinky of poo-poo? No, I do not stinky of poo-poo because I wipe my bum-bum over the potty with the wipey-wipies. So there you go.
Mature adult. Cheered. He says, hey, Phil, can I just say I never have seen someone so positive in a situation where they're facing, losing everything, even the roof over their head. You're an inspiration. Honestly, you're my American idol. Truth of the matter is, I've always had this house at risk. You know, there's been so many things going on financially behind the scenes over the years, taxes and everything. It's always been a risk, okay? Right now, your house is not at risk, okay? This is not. People who are telling you that are idiots, all right? There's no...
Wait. Truth of the matter is, this house has always been at risk. You know, I've had all these problems over the years, but right now, where I'm facing bankruptcy and foreclosure on another property, this house isn't at risk. How does that make sense?
No chance that I'm losing this house. Anyone who believes that is one of those dumb fuck, you know, again, here we go, mom mentality cult believers. They've fabricated shit or spun half-truths to try to create a narrative of drama that does not exist. I am in no risk of losing this house. Okay? None. Zero. Okay? Just being honest with you. Now, are there other things going on? Absolutely. But I'm not going to lose my house at this point. Okay? So, you don't have to worry about... That's the last thing I'm worried about. Trust me, there's many other things, realistic things to worry about, not that. Okay?
Papa Vera comes out with this giant King Kong strap-on. All right, baby, you approved it. Let's do it. Uh-oh. Wait, I meant for you. No, no. Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, no! 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 Papa Vera!
Oh, fucking shit!
No! No! Papa Vera!
Ow!
No! No! Papa Vera!
Ow!
Papa Vera, no! No!
Oh, man. Oh, it's delicious. I love that. Pain is pleasure. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone.
Jesus Christ. Oh boy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go into the next video that will make up our broadcast after there'll be a commercial or a tasty segment somewhere in between here. Like I said, my apologies about there being 3 videos that'll make up our broadcast. It'll actually just be 2. But we'll be alright. You know what I'm saying? We always make do. But like I said, we'll have that segment and I'll see you guys for the next video. See you in a minute.
Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. That I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the second and last video that will make up our broadcast. My apologies about that announcement earlier. My fault. Anyway, let's see. Brought to us by Burnell, DsP-money thoughts. Viewer counter on the Twitch dashboard, which people have been saying forever, and soulmate needs to ask for permission to go out. Well, I guess that makes sense. You stole her from someone else. You don't want someone else to steal her from you. So I guess that's a thing. Anyway, this is from February 28th of 2020, our current year of gout. Let's get it.
And anyone who's considering that, thank you very much. I'm certainly not asking for it. I'm not expecting it. But it's nice that someone asked me, hey, if I were to donate the credits for infliction, would you play it? And the answer is yes. Hey, if I were to donate the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, would you play it? Yes. For me, the problem right now is money. The problem right now is everything is so super tight. I'm barely making, the payments I need to make on necessities. So there's no way that I can go out of my way to, buy a bunch of stuff for the streams.
I can barely make money's tight. I can barely make enough money to buy the necessities. But as you guys heard in the last video of this broadcast, he's in no way at risk of losing his house. Just keep all this in mind. Excuse me. I know this is all detractor propaganda / cult indoctrination, but, just run with me on this for a minute.
I'm sorry. I have to basically do bare minimum when it comes to new releases and stuff right now. Gimme. Let the green roll in.
Looks like we got a bunch of idiots in the stream chat who are trying to derail it today. So rather than even, address it, I'm just going to take care of this as I do the pre-stream and ignore all the nonsense. Because I'm not going to waste my time even answering some of this dumb stuff people are saying. I'm just going to say bye-bye, boop, 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 and continue on. Okay. But the best way to contribute is by tipping me. As I've already stated today, right now, I'm in a situation where I really need help with tips because I need to raise a ton of funds for this weekend to send to my tax guy so that he'll file my taxes for me this year. Okay? Just being very matter of fact with all of you. That's what the reason I'm doing this marathon tomorrow is because I need to raise a lot of money for this tax guy. Okay? So please, if you can tip, and you're considering, contributing today, please tip.
Your support in times like this.
So we had time to conduct a social experiment to see how people feel about basically lol cows in general, not anybody specific, but in general. But yet, we barely have money to pay our tax guy. You guys see how this shit all kind of falls into place now? His alleged greasy experiment was done to gauge how many people would actually probably come out for the fundraiser, excuse me, and give him an idea of what kind of money he could expect, which is my thought, which is exactly what my thought is. He just put out a feeler. That's basically what that is. And then twisted it into all kinds of other extra shit, which meant nothing at the end of the day, because I doubt anybody these days questions whether Phil will actually succeed in a sub goal of any type. I think we're past that part, right? More than likely he's going to get the money. And if he gets the money, we still laugh at him. If he don't get the money, then we fucking riot and laugh at his ass. But more often than not, he's going to get the money. That's why the tip goals are so small. Instead of asking for $1,250, why didn't he ask for $2,000? Instead of asking for $500, why didn't he ask for $1,500? Phil in 2017 and 2018 would have did it. Just something to think about.
This is the reason I'm still here. How many times have I come to you with a special video? Alert, this happened. I need help now. But, how many times can I yell help before people are like, enough is enough?
Alright. So, Honest Fan says the following. Phil, I know we all know the penne meme and how good of a pasta it is. Any pasta shapes that you don't like. For example, angel hair is really thin and sucks. Do you eat pasta with a fork or a spoon? I heard some people eating pasta with a spoon and knife, but I can't see how that works. First of all, is there any pasta I dislike? Like, is there an actual shape that I don't like? I prefer
A penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh!
I've talked about this before. When I talked about the penne thing that became the meme, the point I was making was I like short pasta better than long pasta. The reason being, you don't have to slurp it, you don't have to, spoon it up or spin it onto your fork. You could just eat it by forking it and putting it in your mouth.
Every bite, you're getting a full, hearty mouthful of the meat and the cheese.
Right? If you have tube-like pasta, like penne or rigatoni, you can easily just put the fork into the hole and pick it up and put it in your mouth. It's easy. If you're eating like linguine or spaghetti or, hey, angel hair pasta like you bring up, these are long, twirly pastas that are a pain in the ass. You go to
How lazy is he? We're talking about the consumption of food, ladies and gentlemen. Not even cooking it, because that's what he has Catherine for. Apparently, that's all she's ever good for is just cooking and cleaning. But we're talking about eating. We're talking about the consumption of food, and he's making this big of a deal about it. Yikes!
You gotta twirl it, now it's dangling off your fork, you go to eat it, you gotta slurp it up, now sauce is flying everywhere, it's all over your fucking face, it jumps right onto your white shirt, now you got a big fucking sauce stain all over your shirt, you look like a fucking slob, and now you're an asshole, you know? In addition...
You're an asshole because you got a little bit of pasta sauce on your shirt? And you're at home. Like, did you feel the need to wear a white shirt when you're eating spaghetti? Or pasta in general? I mean, it's not like you're begging Catherine to fucking feed you, right? And doesn't Catherine put like a bib or something on you? Or I don't know. It'd be helpful if that's the case. Like, if you're really this incompetent, ladies and gentlemen, and you can't, like, eat over your plate, right? Or you can't figure out the logistics of getting something from the plate to your mouth, maybe a bib or some shit would probably be good for you or something. I don't know. You're in the privacy of your own home, outside of your wife and your stepson. There's nobody else really there that can be embarrassed by you. I don't know. Just my opinion, of course.
When you're eating pasta, sometimes they'll put meat in it, like meatballs or sausage or something. And again, if you have a short pasta, easier to fork the meat and just eat it. You got this long pasta, now you're twirling and now there's meat flying everywhere. It's bad. Alright? I don't like longer pasta. Although I will say...
No, I think you're just incompetent. I think that's really what it comes down to. I've never heard anybody complain like this. And I wouldn't even say this is... And the thing is, to be realistic, this isn't even for comedic value. I think he really means... Well, not even that I think, I know. He really means this. Which makes it just that much more pathetic. Defiant sniff.
If you're having longer pasta as like a side, like let's say you're getting chicken parmesan for your main course, and they give you a little side of spaghetti with some marinara sauce. That's fine. That's different because it's a side. But as a main course, I prefer shorter pastas. Okay?
If you're having a hard time eating a large plate of pasta, you're probably going to have a harder time eating a small plate. And just in case you didn't know, idiot, all of that would be on the same plate. Just throwing that out there. I've never gone to an Italian restaurant where they brought me just a huge plate of like multiple cutlets of chicken parmesan, because that'd be godlike if they did. And then they have a little bowl on the side for my pasta. I've never seen that. And more importantly, usually in those situations, they usually give you fettuccine alfredo. But he did say pasta in general, so it is what it is. I can't shit on him too much for that. But that's usually what that would serve you with. I mean, unless you ask for pasta with marinara sauce, but I mean, you wouldn't need that. I don't know, whatever. Tomato, tomato.
Favorite pasta shape?
What? What? What?
Now, I want you to think about this numbskull for a minute here. Not Homer, the other one. This idiot right here won't play Code Vein because of anime titties. But he's okay with some underage chick talking about penne. Think about that.
I prefer penis because it's easy to eat.
Now, how do you eat pasta? Do you eat it with a fork or a spoon? Or a spoon and a knife. First of all, I've never eaten pasta with a knife in my life, except the exception there would be raviolis. If you're eating giant raviolis and you need to cut them open, maybe you want a knife. I mean, most ravioli, you could just use a fork anyway, but for ease of use, maybe a fork and knife for cut a ravioli. But outside of that, I can't imagine why you would need, you know, a knife to eat regular pasta. Now, most pasta you can just eat. Most pasta you can just eat normally. Alright?
Yeah, but you've kind of already displayed, well, you've kind of explained that you can't eat pasta normally. Now, I actually have seen people cut their pasta, like, into, like, smaller strains. I've seen people do that. I've never done it, but I've seen people do it, so. Especially people that are older. I've seen older people do it, so.
With a fork. But some pasta actually does utilize a spoon. Allow me to explain. In a traditional Italian restaurant, if you're going to have a pasta dish, they'll actually usually give you a fork and a spoon. Reason being, if you're going to eat a longer pasta, again, like spaghetti, what you're supposed to do, you put your spoon into the pasta, you use your fork to twirl the pasta and, you know, get a big, you know, amount of strands of it, like, kind of roped up on the fork, but then you use the spoon to hold that in place and lift it to your mouth, so you can eat it without all the strands dangling and the sauce flying everywhere. So my complaint about the sauce getting everywhere when you eat long pasta is kind of negated if you use the spoon. That's the traditional Italian way to eat pasta, long pasta. They always give you a spoon to eat it. So if you go to an Italian restaurant and they give you a spoon for your pasta, and you're like, why'd they give me this? It's because you're supposed to be twirling it out with the fork and holding it in place with the spoon so you can lift it and eat it that way and not make a huge mess. Okay? So there you go.
Yeah, but yet he still complains about the huge mess. So either A, he's not using a spoon at home. Maybe he doesn't have any spoons, because we did watch him eat. We watched him eat ramen with a fork. No. I got that back up. I got it backwards. Sorry. He does have spoons, because we saw him eat ramen with a spoon when he clearly should have had a fork or chopsticks, if he knows how to use chopsticks. But he clearly should have been using a fork, but he was using a spoon. So either A, when Panda was making him pasta, he's not using a spoon, or B, he's just incompetent and he can't eat. He just can't eat properly. It's one of the two. I don't know. I need to go over those Panda cooking videos, because I'm pretty sure there's some suspect shit in that.
There's your answer, honest fan. You thought I wasn't going to give you a serious answer, but there you go. Alright, Kanye Glover in the cut tipped me $1.30 asking, can he be unbanned? Kanye Glover in the cut, you are unbanned. I don't know why you think you're not. In fact, earlier you said something in the stream saying, I wish I could be unbanned, but you were unbanned, so how else did you think that your message was showing up in the stream? The only reason you got banned is because you personally attacked someone last night. And I understand he's like, oh, it was a troll I was attacking. Yeah, but you were making a personal attack. And those aren't allowed on the stream regardless. Even if it's a troll or not, I don't allow personal attacks from my stream chatters between each other. So please understand that's against the rules. I gave you a temporary timeout for that stream, but now you're back, okay? I don't know why you thought you weren't back. You were talking in the stream chat saying, hey, can I come back, please? I was like, how do you think you're chatting?
Bumblefucks. Fucking idiots. They're dumb fucks.
Jasper's fart hole. And by the way, no, I'm not putting that on the leaderboard. I'm just going to say JF. Timmy, $6.66 says you unleashed the coronavirus by eating bat soup. Well, I did not eat bat soup. I'll just let you know. I did not do that, okay? Although I saw some insanely disgusting video footage of apparently people who do that. And some people are surmising that the coronavirus actually did originate from bat DNA. That it was actually it's a contagious bat disease that humans contracted because of disgusting shit like that, okay? That's really gross. Yuck. Let's just, you know, put a fucking bat in a bowl of broth and eat it. Sounds like a great idea.
You know what? The dog just shot on my...
Every culture has something that would seem odd to somebody else. It is what it is.
Front porch today? Why don't we eat the fucking shit right off the front porch? That looks like a fucking delicacy, doesn't it? Right?
It's alleged, Phil, that... I mean, I'm not sure about now, but back in your day, it was alleged that the meat that they were serving in hamburgers at basically any local school was actually horse meat. How do you feel about that? How does Catherine feel about that?
Oh, around a giraffe and just suck the shit out of its ass. Oh, it's so good, so delicious. That's just a great idea. So petty.
Well, since you're feeling like that, Phil, did you know that your canned food is allowed to have a certain amount of, like, either fecal matter or insects or shavings from the machine? and it's still considered legal for consumption? Well, legal and safe? Just throwing it out there, Phil. Maybe you should really consider how processed foods work. Just throwing it out there, buddy.
You are, and how fucking immature and sick you are in your fucking head.
Oh my god. These people are fucking weirdos. If there's even a grain of truth in any of this, that's so fucking stupid. And the funny thing is, some people would say, oh, it's racist because people are saying it was the Chinese. I don't think it's racist. I think it's just, it has nothing to do with the race of people. It has to do with the fact that people are dumb as fuck. Gee, I wonder if I put a bat inside of my bowl of broth and I just eat it like that, if I'm gonna get sick. Yes! Yes, stupid! Yes, you will! I don't know what else to say.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from the same idiot who has a amazing, absolutely fucking amazing prejudice against those who are Asian. Well, I guess anybody who's non-white, but you know what I mean. But Asians especially, he's got a real hard-on for that. Apparently Evo 2005 really left an awful stain in his mouth, or taste in his mouth. Granted, if he brushed his teeth more often, it wouldn't be so bad. Anyway, sorry about that. Eating the intern's gummies. Fucking godlike. They're fucking delicious. Anyway, but with that being said, since he has a natural prejudice towards them, of course he's going to sit around and spout, just absolute ignorant shit like this. Granted, if you're keeping up with the coronavirus and what people are actually starting to speculate, it more than likely it's not going to come from the bats. More than likely, it's fucking some type of man-made bioweapon. That's what it seems like to me. I'll tell you this right now. There's a reason why that they burn those bodies as quickly as they do. Now, I'm kind of half joking when I get ready to say this shit, but this shit turned out to be Resident Evil. Boy, oh boy. Phil ain't gonna make it. Phil is not gonna make it. Now, the question is, what turns first? Is it gonna be Catherine or Jasper? Since they can be transferred back and forth between animals and humans. But that's the comedy part of it. Anyway, his general ignorance here, none of us should be surprised. It is what it is. Like I said, in every culture, everybody eats something weird or something that's a bit outlandish. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. When you're in a very how do I word this? When you're in a dire situation, or if you come from a family, or you come from a culture where they lived in a very dire situation and they had to make do with whatever they could get their hands on, it is what it is. It just is what it is. People knew that the Chinese have been eating bats for centuries. It didn't bother Phil last year. It didn't bother anybody really last year. It didn't bother anybody 2 years ago. It probably didn't bother people 10 years ago. It's only when it starts to affect everybody, or at least they think it does, then all of a sudden people want to point. Same shit. That same mob mentality, right? Going off what we hear and not actually doing some fucking research and looking up, going off hearsay, wanting to go ahead and kind of be in that in crew, that clique, if you will. You guys remember that? I remember that. Pepperidge Farm remembers that. I don't know who made these gummy bears, but goddamn, they remember that too.
It has nothing to do with the race of people. It has to do with the stupidity of people. Holy shit. Anyway, thank you for the tip. Biggest tip of the day so far. Chucky Jack did a 100-bit cheer. All right, and he says, he did use the hunter's cheer. Cheer mode again. Thank you very much. He says, why do you say the same things with 400 people? There's probably only one person who hasn't heard this. Because, Chunky Jack, when you run a business, that's what you do.
I'm a mature adult with a business degree. My business degree is completely fucking useless.
You treat it like every day is a fresh new day, a fresh new opportunity, and a fresh new customer base. Even if there's only 2 new people in the chat today, or on the stream today from yesterday, those are 2 people who want to know what's going on, and they deserve that attention. They do. I'm just being honest. Plus, there's people who come back every once in a while. It's good to have reiteration of the rules. And let's face it, sometimes the rules change. Sometimes there's something different going on. Like right now, best way to contribute being tipping because of what's going on with my tax guy. These things you need to know. Just because you're here every day doesn't mean everyone is. Okay? And I understand that, but that it might be annoying you if you hear the same thing every day. At this point, you know the drill. It's not going to change. It hasn't in 3 years. So please just understand that and stop complaining. Thank you for the cheer.
I mean, with that being said, if this has been the same drill for 3 years, even if people are leaving and coming back, they kind of already know what the situation is. You're a financial fucking catastrophe, calamity, and you're always going to need help. They can copy paste whatever excuse they need to copy paste in at their leisure. That means nothing. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I think the dude had a point. And even if you do have new viewership, sorry for the gummy ASMR. This just got like, I need to stop this now before I get myself into some real trouble. Anyway, it's good though. Anyway, and even if you do have new people there, they're not going to fall under the pig noses right away. It is what it is. You're kind of just a morbid curiosity. You know what I mean? You're literally the modern day proverbial internet freak show. And people just come by to see what's it all about. Either it's going to be incredibly entertaining or it's going to be dull, and then they go to the restreamers to get the real entertainment. One of the two. Some people just like to compare. Do you go to the source, Dark Side Phil, and see if he truly is entertaining and people are just shitting on him for no reason? Or you go over there to Tevin, Theo, or LSB, or Dark Day Mirrors, and you get the real entertainment. It's one of the two. End story. Okay, I'm going to stop, because these things are good as fuck. God damn. I haven't even put a dent in that jar yet. I should try to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try to be nice. I'm going to try to be a good pup about this, but god damn, these are good.
Insomniatic Meat did a 100-bit cheer. He says, I eat spaghetti with a spoon. Well, thank you, Insomniatic Meat. And he used the 100 cheer emote, by the way, so thank you for that. He says, how would you eat spaghetti just with a spoon? That I don't know. For me, it's like you need a fork and a spoon. I've never seen anyone eat spaghetti with just the spoon. So...
We have seen you try to eat ramen with just a spoon, though. That shit was funny as hell. That shit was definitely the high points. That was definitely one of the high points of Phil's intellectual achievements. Gotta say. So, you know, for all those people who want to say, hey, Phil's a really smart guy. You guys only want to focus on the bad. I can give you a laundry list there, pal, of the stupidity that Phil has done. And then if you want to come back and go ahead and talk about his intellectual level, we can do that. We can do that.
Sure. Thanks for busting your ass. I have underarm sweat. That's the proof that I'm busting my ass. There's no underarm sweat here at all. It's completely dry. Maybe you saw a shadow, but there's nothing there at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Thanks for the cheer.
Oh!
Bad Dragon on auto ship tipped me $1 and said, we all get a nice shout out to the Bad Dragons of San Francisco. Our people in the back door of the country are the most famous Bad Dragon lovers. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. But anyway, thanks for a $1 tip. For apparently something Bad Dragon is some kind of a meme or something. I don't understand. Who knows? Maybe it's a disgusting sexual term. Or maybe people are just laughing at me because I'm an idiot. I don't know. Who cares? Here, I'll say Bad Dragon, Bad Dragon, Bad Dragon, Bad Dragon, Bad Dragon, Bad Dragon. There. And I said enough that you guys can take audio clips and go have your jollies. Okay?
Alright, Volubee hits $20. $20? Hits level 20. Volubee wants to learn Tailwind. Joseph Robinson, to me $2 says Bad Dragons are big animal penis-shaped dildos. Alright! Sounds very mature, people, to say that. I just thought Bad Dragons were like, dragons that were into, like, you know, drugs and alcohol. Stuff like that. I didn't know that it was, you know, some stupid dildo. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Ho ho ho! I joked about dildo. Ho ho ho! I'm 4 years old.
Salt. That's all I can taste is salt.
We're gonna do this for the very first time. We're gonna give this a shot, everyone. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna save the game. Alright? Yes, that is right, Popsicolo. Thank you for reminding me to hide my screen so I don't get a ton of friend requests. Okay. The game is saved. We close the software. I hide the screen. What the fuck? What the hell is that? Is that my Twitch screen? Hold on a second. Oh, alright, hold on. I think it was showing my Twitch dashboard. Which is fine, doesn't matter, but how do I turn that off? Oh, here we go, browser. And then, okay. I was like, it's showing my Twitch dashboard. What's it showing that for? Nothing on there anyway. Okay, so, we're going to go...
Now, ladies and gentlemen, We've talked about this quite a bit here. You know what I'm saying? Over many of cups of coffee and many Jasper turkey bacon sandwiches about, amongst other things, about how Phil knows exactly how many people are on stream at any given time. You know what I mean? It's all readily in his face and all these little different descriptions. Oh, what's going on in that monitor there is Pornhub. And that one right there is the naked topless picture of Panda that I still have, which is weird because, you know, you're married now, but whatever. And then on this one right here is so on and so forth and yada, yada, yada. We all knew that was bullshit. We all told you that was bullshit. You want to know why that was? Because most of these people who told you that actually stream. Or they watch other streamers. Right? And those streamers are not fucking stuck up assholes like Phil, which not that Phil has anything to be stuck up about. Excuse me, for various reasons. Or non-reasons. But yet at the same time though too, if you ask them how their dashboard is set up, it's, you know, they can make that readily available for you. Outside of any personal information being shown or said. Why would you lie about something small like that about I don't know how many people are on my stream at any given time? When your livelihood while streaming kind of depends on that. Or even your, just for the mentality of the streamer, it kind of depends on that slightly. Who actually has, and I want you guys to really think about this, who runs a stream and not know how many people that they actually have on? Like, I want you to think about that. Like, realistically. Like, who really does that? Especially the way Phil has his little roach nest set up. Of course he knows what's going on. He knows what kind of money he's getting in. He knows who's on stream. He knows how many people are on the stream. He knows how long the stream's been going for. He knows all of these things. But for whatever reason, the viewer count was never made available to him, or he never thought about looking at it. Wow.
To system settings, and I'm going to try to change my date and time. Here we go. To anonymous $2 tip says you can literally hear the troll's mouth breathing and staring at the stream pause with your dashboard. Of course they are. There's no information on the dashboard. There's none. There's no information on the Twitch dashboard that's anything of any danger. I know that for a fact. I stare at it every day. But you know they're going to try to...
Thanks for confirming that, Phil. I know that. I stare at it every day. So, further solidifying that we know exactly how many people we have on stream at any given time, every day, all day. Well done, Phil. Well done. Mommy might have smoked a little too much around you, but whatever. At least you got that human milk.
Micro-analyze it and find something when there's nothing on it. Because they're idiots.
Snort. What an asshole.
Joe Rogan, the entrepreneur, took me $1 saying he created his own line of bad dragon buttholes. Alright, that's enough info. I don't need to read any further. It's great. Those bad dragon buttholes. What the frick is going on? So, Clefairy.
I know what I'm naming this. Phil. Because it's me. This is me. If I were a Pokemon, this would be me. Right here.
Your trip shared again, so in your personal opinion, do you think it's okay to look through a significant other's phone or their password for their phone? Alright. In my opinion, you shouldn't have an issue with it, because if you trust each other, right, then you know you trust that significant other to not have anything on the phone. Right now,
if you trust that significant other to not have anything on their phone, then why would you have to look? You're kind of killing your own narrative. You sound like a scorn lover, my dude. Here's the thing. If you got trust in somebody, you don't need to have solidification in your trust. Now, at the end of the day, if you want to do that, you want to do that. It is what it is. I'm not going to condemn you either which way. It's kind of Drake-like, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. He's sensitive, so it is what it is, to be perfectly honest. But if you have trust, then those thoughts on what's on their phone should never come across you at all. Which is kind of one of the major arguments that people have when it comes to the whole trust argument. Oh, well, I trust you. Okay, well, if you trust me, then what's the problem? Oh, well, I want to see your phone, though. Okay, but I thought you trusted me, though. Well, I do, but I want to see your phone. Okay, here you go. And then you don't find anything. Or then they don't find anything. And then you see, like, that momentary, like almost that sense of relief. And then that's when you come into the realization that there's no trust. So now you lied to me, right? And you didn't trust me. Not a good look. And then that can start problems if you let it. It is what it is. At the end of the day, right? if there's if I mean, it's something small, it's something petty. It is what it is. Make of it what you will, I suppose. It depends on your level of trust. It depends on what your relationship's like. Everybody's relationship's different. So, you know what I'm saying? Most people don't ask because, one, they don't care, or two, they're scared they're going to find something. That doesn't actually help anybody's argument, but I don't know. That's whatever to me.
Tap my phone and say, go right ahead and take a look, and she would, I'm pretty sure she would just give me her phone and say, go ahead and take a look. We trust each other. You know what I mean?
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, being that, at least on her part, you know what I'm saying, she was with somebody else while she was with you. Despite the fact that he may have been nudging her out or not, she was still with somebody. And I still hold to the theory that you were talking to Catherine when you were still with Panda. So, yeah. If all that is allegedly true, well, at least we know for sure the Subaru man thing was true. There's not a whole lot of trust there. Or no, I mean, how do you trust somebody like that? But then again, some people say, well, you know, just because someone cheated once doesn't mean they'll cheat on you again. I've always felt like if someone cheated on you once, they'll more than likely do it again. But what are you gonna do? Tomato, tomato.
Oh my God.
At the end of the day, if you don't demonstrate your self-worth, then and if you don't appreciate that, no one else will either. So if you put yourself out there to be stepped on, then people will step on you. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Even if those people, or at least some of those people, don't even mean to, it'll just kind of happen. It's kind of one of the aspects of human nature, where if you see a group of people pity someone, it'll almost be a natural, I want to say inclination, but it's almost like a natural thing for you to pity that person as well, even though you may or may not know fully why these people are pitying them, so on and so forth. The bullying mentality kind of works to that to a degree as well. Phil has already kind of talked about that nonsense. Not to the level that Phil's getting it. His is much more deserved, and hence the reason why it happens. But that's, yet again, we could talk about that at another time, another date. But it usually kind of falls into those type of situations. If you could have someone who wants to, actually, I got a good example. Charlie Brown. Let's take Charlie Brown for example. Fucking blockhead, right? I love Charlie Brown. All right. You know how people call him blockhead, people make fun of him, everything, and this, that, and third, right? And people say that outside of, let's see, who are the three people that really have Charlie Brown's back? Snoopy, Peppermint Patty, and Linus. In actuality, Snoopy has his back no matter what, even if he is laughing at him. Peppermint has it to an extent, but Linus is usually portrayed, I'm sure most of you guys would think the same, Linus will always have Charlie Brown's back. He's his sense of encouragement, so on and so forth. I beg to differ, or I would wish to make the argument that Linus, in truth, is no better than the others. So here's the thing. Usually when Charlie Brown messes up, more often than not, it's at his own detriment. It is what it is. Very rarely does it hurt everybody else, and if it does, it doesn't really hurt them. It just sets them back, and then they rally together, and then shit happens. So on and so forth. But Linus usually is not involved in any of the shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? He's there to pick Charlie Brown up because Charlie Brown is meant to be picked up. And you find, usually at the end of a lot of those older episodes, that's kind of what happens. That Linus is the one who steps in, or Snoopy steps in, then Linus steps in, and then they all kind of rally around him. But there are some times where Linus shitted on Charlie Brown as much, if not worse, than the other kids did. Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but that doesn't make him a friend. It doesn't make him as good of a friend as people put him out to be. I won't say that he's not a friend, but it doesn't make him as good of a friend as people say he is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, Linus, of all people, kind of understands the imperfections, right, and the flaws of what Charlie Brown is. But if you're willing to bash him for those same things, even though you, of all people, know those imperfections innately, then what makes you any better than the others? Especially when your sister, if I remember correctly, yeah, Linus' sister is Sally, and Sally's an absolute bitch. Fuck the bullshit. Sally's a bitch. And she digs into Charlie Brown every chance she get. So it's kind of hard for some of that, I won't say negativity, but that aggressiveness, right, towards Charlie Brown, and a lot of that animosity. I wouldn't say she has animosity. Maybe. I don't know. I have to probably go back and watch a lot of it. But anyway, I would say some of that aggressiveness towards Charlie Brown wouldn't rub off on Linus. You know what I mean? And just because he was able to, just because he didn't act upon it as much as the other kids ended up doing, doesn't necessarily make him any better. At least in the way I looked at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep in mind, when I watched all that shit was already super goddamn old. But that was one of the things that I, as a young pup, like, picked up rather early. I was like, yeah, Linus is a friend, but I don't think he's any better of a friend than the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Because he's had his moments where he did it too. So how good of a friend are you? You know what I'm saying? Especially over really small shit. And at the end of the day, a lot of the, like as I said earlier, a lot of the shit that Charlie Brown ended up doing ended up affecting him more than anybody else. But that's tomato. Sorry about that. I ain't got sidetracked and shit. But it helped with my example.
Where's Kat? She was taking a shower when I was on break. She had just gotten out of the shower. So that's where she is. I have no idea what else she's doing.
And just for the record, I would never compare Darkside Phil to fucking Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's way more likable.
Today. It's up to her. She cooked like crazy yesterday, so today's her day and will do whatever she wants. Now, does that just give you permission to just go in there whenever you want, do whatever you want? No, you shouldn't be on there without asking permission. It's just a common courtesy.
Asking for what? She needs to ask for asking for permission. Wow. Did you really? So is it true that you just took one daughter and replaced her for a much older daughter? Holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to think about this for a minute as you're going through your day. That any of you would ask your girlfriend, your wife, or fiance, significant other of whatever, right, for permission. They had to ask you for permission, or you had to ask them for permission to do anything. That sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Like, who conducts themselves like this? Every little thing that Catherine wants to do, she needs permission. That does kind of fall into my thesis, though, about how there's a reason why he wants him and Catherine always go everywhere with each other, and it's always one day a week. One of it is because he's fucking useless. Uselessness, remember? His little WWE Champions Gil, whatever. But also, it's a trust thing. I don't think he trusts her, because if he snatched her so quickly from Superwoman, who's to say that she couldn't get plucked up by Jim or whoever else, Tyrone, whatever. So, same concept. And since this idiot's going to sit here and talk about permission, I mean, one would imply that he don't trust her. Not to say that if you look at their circumstances, they'd have a reason. He'd have a reason to, or vice versa. God damn, this dude's a nut.
Someone who's just sitting in the other, if you want to go on something of theirs, ask them first. Make sure that everything's okay, that you don't screw something up or whatever. Okay, it would be very, very rude to just go in there without any fucking permission or anything.
But I thought you just gave us that whole spiel about trust, though. Now we need permission? I'm just saying, Phil. I'm going by your logic.
Me, I don't go to his stream, so I don't know, like, you know, what people say.
But we all knew that was a lie because she ended up confirming later on, or Phil confirmed it, I should say, that she does come to his streams sometimes. But she likes watching other streamers or other content creators because, you know, they have talent and charisma. And they're actually decent people. You know, all the things that Phil isn't.
Guy needs to be kicked in the freaking balls. He's an asshole.
But passwords, I think everyone should have each other's passwords because what happens if, God forbid, something happens?
Okay, so I may have jumped the gun a little bit on the permission thing, but I think it still all applies. You feel that your significant other should have your passwords for shit? Well, it doesn't matter because your bank account, you broke. So I mean, she doesn't need the password to your bank account. Oh, okay, well let's go with that. Does Catherine have the passwords to your PayPal accounts? No, I'm pretty confident she don't. I'm sure you don't have the passwords to her bank accounts. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And yet again, he's working against his trust narrative too. Whatever. Let's let him finish.
Someone, and I need to access something for something super important. You need to have all that, right? So you absolutely should do that. Okay.
Red Bat.
If you needed, now let's go off his narrative for a minute. You need passwords to certain stuff for something super important. Like, you mean like emergency numbers, Phil? You mean like the same emergency numbers that Panda needed? Hence the reason why they called you and not called the current guy that she was actually giving it to? Well, or giving it to her. Whatever. You mean like that? Because you can always write down emergency numbers or points of contact. Outside of that, what do you need on someone else's phone, Phil? Outside of the, like I said, personal contact information. The same personal contact information, ladies and gentlemen, that he chastised when Panda had her panic attack. And he was like, I don't understand why they called me. I mean, shit, I wasn't with her no more. What the fuck they calling me for? Remember that? The reason why they called him is because he was probably the first and only emergency contact on Panda's list. Something to think about.
$5. He said, "Oh, it's a complete insult. So what a dickhead. He tips me $5 to insult me. We can go fuck himself."
I don't know if she was drinking during your pregnancy, but she might have been smoking. That's a thing.
He take his $5 Lincoln, shove it up his ass, and light it on fire and burn his own colon out. Fuckhead.
Someone named DSP is my hero just sent me $3. Do you think people are jealous of you or are they messed up? Jealous? I don't think so. I think they just like to make fun of me because they know that they can get away with it now.
I'm glad you acknowledge the fact that, and you look at his face, it kind of paints the picture. I like the fact that he acknowledged that nobody's jealous of him. Because, why would you? To be honest. Like, look at him. This right here is the face of success. This is your ruler of Galtopia. Bankrupt, foreclosed, laughingstock, can't hold anybody around him or keep anybody with him for more than a few years. Hence the reason why people are already moving on to when's Catherine going to make her escape with her son Jasper. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the pinnacle of success. This is your point of envy. Sure.
Seeing that the stuff they do concretely hurts me, and they're just fucked up people that want to hurt me because they can get away with it. They're like, man, I can anonymously hurt someone on the internet and really fuck their life up? Oh, that's awesome. Like, they actually feel like there's power behind it. Like, oh wow, I can actually fuck someone's life up. That's just so amazing. They're really messed up people. They don't know me. I never did anything to them.
I know quite a bit about you, actually. I actually know more about your fighting game history, probably more than I know about your dumb shit on YouTube. I know quite a bit about you, to be honest. Trust me, I don't know all of it. Not at all. The only part that right there goes to Tevin. But I know quite a bit. I think a lot of people know a lot about a lot. Your last 10 years doesn't just entail your time on the platform, but it also aspects of your life that you put out there. Like, for example, how mommy and daddy Burnell were sitting there cheating on each other, which, if one was to surmise with any level of practicality, there may be a half brother or sister out there, ladies and gentlemen, that we may not know about. Hell, that he may not know about. Just throwing it out there. But the whole thing about the infidelity between mommy and daddy Burnell is true. He said that on an Axe the King a long time ago. And I love how he went ahead and finagled that situation into, oh, they were using me as a pawn, and they were using me for positioning and this, that, and the third, and I hated it, this, that, and the third, because they were out there cheating on each other and whatever. No one had to dig that up. He went ahead and said that on his own. Oh well, womp womp.
Just fucked up in the head.
I mean, if mommy and daddy are cheaters, it only makes sense that their son would be. It's a chip off the old block, if you will.
Cool.
Dark side filled the lol cow. Oh, woe is me, I'm the victim complex guy.
So here we go. Now here comes a dumb fuck saying the stupid fucking detractor meme, which is why I don't want to bring it up, because the moment I say mobile games, idiots start lying and saying fucked up stuff about it that's not true. And it pisses me off that people spread so much disgusting misinformation and try to make me look bad. I hate it.
Now I want you to take another look at this ugly looking mug. So this boy right here is mad. He big mad. He big mad. He mad because people ain't found his guild, and you ain't spent $40,000 on a fucking gotcha game. And he mad about it. Why would you be mad about something that's a lie, though? Like, why is that a thing? I mean, right? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, like, everything we say is a lie. Well, everything we say is a half-truth. Well, everything that is said is only, you know, is taken out of context. They take a little bit of this, and then they finagle it into something else. You know, stuff like that. Semantics, if you will. But we big mad, though, about a mobile game. A mobile game that allegedly he gave up when him and Catherine became a thing, despite the fact that he not only is it confirmed, at least with a reasonable sense of doubt, but it's been almost confirmed that he is, you know, still playing mobile games. But on top of that, when he went to Connecticut with Catherine to get married, he was playing a mobile game on the way there and back because he paid the extra $37, maybe $40 and whatnot to have a data plan on the plane. Oh well, semantics though. Remember, I'm a low life detractor who makes things up for profit, and that's why I'm swimming in so much YouTube bucks. Thanks, Susan. I'm still waiting on the check though, like Medicare. Well, Medicare got his check. Medicare eventually got his check. That was wild. That happened to him too. You would think a channel that size, even Susan would let go, but then look at what happened to Monkey. Look what happened to Monkey. So, it is what it is. Rip.
You know, but what defense do I have? None. I can't do anything about it. They keep saying fucked up stuff. So.
Monkey Jones. Sorry. I was taking me a minute to catch that.
Vinny Kitty, cheers. If you go back to 2014, what would you do differently? Dude, the thing is, Vinny Kitty, when you get older, you realize even thinking like that is a fucking waste of time. Because you can't change the past. You can't live in regret. You seriously can't. You gotta think that.
But you live in regret all day. You live in regret with the whole thing about you being fired from the helicopter company. You live in regret for not getting close to that girl at the financial institute. You live in regret in how you actually conducted yourself and your YouTube channel early on. And you taking all the hate and all the shit that you get. The fuck are you talking about?
Hopefully you just learn from your mistakes. It's not what could I have done differently if I was back there, but what will I not do in the future to repeat the mistakes of the past? That's really the mindset you need to have. Learn from your mistakes and learn from experience rather than, oh, I want to go back in time and change everything. You can't do that.
The other thing is the blame game. I love people.
Well, wait a second. How well did you do with learning from your mistakes? Now, I like this look right here, right? Because this right here is the idiot coming to the realization of how stupid he fucking is. And then he wants to get into the blame game. I'm going to go ahead and preemphasize this a little bit and go ahead and talk about his blame game. This is the same moron who blames everybody for every little shortcoming he's had in life. From his mother and father, to the dead aunt, to people that he worked with, to just those jobs in general, not recognizing his abilities and his brilliance and his genius, to his friends who didn't, hold him down, if you will. YouTube for fucking over the algorithm to where he wasn't popular anymore, and I debate that he was ever popular in the first place, because if you're putting up 30 to 50 videos a goddamn day, eventually you're going to oversaturate the algorithm in the search engine either which way, which is one of the reasons why he's fucked over now. He blames detractors that he ain't never met before. He blames everybody for every shortcoming that he's ever had in life. He blamed Panda for being the reason why he ended up jerking off on stream. But now he wants to talk about blame game. I know, I should have waited, but we, like Phil, we kind of pre-ejected a little bit. Just a little bit.
Point the finger to blame game. Who's responsible for it? It doesn't matter. What's happened. Live with it. Move on. Right? There's your clip of the night.
So, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to answer this kind of question because I don't feel that way, So, obviously, he lied.
What? Who's going to believe that? Anybody who's been watching Phil for a month already knows this is bullshit. But let us continue.
So, anyway, asshole troll to me says, Jasper closer to you or Kat? I don't think he's closer to either of us. Just being honest. I think there's certain things he likes to do with her, certain things he likes to do with me, certain things he likes to do together with us, so.
Why would I believe?
That sounds retarded, but okay.
You about anything. When you lied about being engaged, you lied about the wedding, you lied about the cat, so how can I believe anything you say? Then don't. Who cares?
Thank you guys. Everyone who could.
Then don't. Who cares? Keep that in mind.
tonight, a pretty decent stream for a retro stream. Thanks for suggesting this game. I never played it before. I had fun with it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me play it. And until next time, you might be saying, when is the next time we're playing Super NES? I don't know yet. I can't promise you that. Like I said, this next week is going to be very chaotic. We got a lot of if factors. Maybe I'll be playing Infliction if someone donates it, which some people have said that maybe they will. If not,
so we're betting on something that's not even in hand yet, not even in hoof yet, and we're already betting on it like that's going to be part of the actual schedule. Okay, stupid move number one.
I'm going to be starting up other late night chill streams, so we'll see what happens, but eventually I would like to get back to this. Okay, I actually did like it.
I'm going to start up other chill streams, but if you had those other chill streams, then you probably wouldn't be playing this already. Stupid decision number 2.
Snort gang. Snort! You mean this? Snort it up your nose now.
Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money.
Blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone. Just gone like that. In an instant. Fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory. But I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
And we'll stop it right there because one day you call yourself a successful businessman, and the next minute you're just pathetic. It's kind of hard to beat all that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me clean up, and I'll see you guys literally in just a second for closing thoughts. So, first things first, big ups to Burnell. Thank you so very much for that. Big ups to the intern. Big ups to the intern. And big ups to the intern's gummy bears. They were delicious. Absolutely delicious. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts. Okay, so fundraising, the Tips fundraiser, marathon, and then the social experiment. The marathon doesn't actually mean anything. The social experiment was actually part of the fundraiser, hence the reason why I'm just sidestepping the fundraiser altogether. Ladies and gentlemen, that was just a feeler. It was just a way of kind of gauging what was the public sentiment about him, and it gives them a better idea of what kind of money that can be made. Pure and simple. Don't get me wrong, just because he's an idiot doesn't necessarily mean that he's not trying to con you in some way, shape, or form. Even con artists aren't the smartest people on the goddamn planet. They're just some of them are crafty, some of them are smarter than others. But that's neither here nor there. But that's literally all that was about. And to be honest with you, I feel like it kind of backfired more than anything, because the hypocrisy that came out of his explanation is ridiculous. And for Phil to think about anybody else in a general sort of way that isn't him just doesn't make any sense. So he can miss me with that bullshit easily. Let's see here. Money thoughts. I mean, that's all he cares about. And which is funny, because for someone who holds money in such high regard, he wasn't willing to, nor is he still. He's not willing to save it. He's not willing to make it work for him. He's not willing to do anything with it. He only uses it for indulgence, and that's it. And that's fleeting. That is fleeting. And because it's fleeting, it makes it frail. You know what I mean? And because he never had a long-term plan, he never had any long-term goals, he never had any real thoughts or aspirations for his own future, is the reason why he has no future. It's sad, but it's true. Let's see here. Twitch dashboard, he's a liar. What'd you expect? So, of course the viewer counter was there, because why wouldn't it be? You know what I'm saying? They set up the Twitch dashboard for Twitch streamers, for their platform, for you to be able to essentially micromanage, everything. Right there, all convenient. And but yet my Twitch dashboard, it doesn't even say it on there, man. It never said it on there. There's no way I have a chance to look at views or even know what the views are, man. And he, only a couple broadcasts ago, he told us exactly how his setup is lined up. Didn't exactly work out that way, did it? Let's see here. Soulmate needs permission to go out. Now, realistically, that's kind of what he said, but really he was talking about the whole trust issue, which kind of counters the whole situation with the permission thing. We've already spoke on that. To be honest, you have two people who have done some rather grimy shit. I'm not surprised that they have a hard time trusting each other. I think at the end of the day, though, for Catherine, it's a means to an end. I think for Phil, he realizes that this fucking magical goddamn existence that he tried to pawn off on these kids on how good his life was, in reality really isn't. And he's having a harder and harder time come to that realization. Just throwing it out there. I think that's what you saw there. And that's the great thing about bait and bait questions, is that it comes at an angle where Phil isn't familiar with or Phil isn't thinking about, and then he just blurts out exactly what he's thinking. And he doesn't realize how damaging, if one was to take it to that level, that it could be, because he's never been encountered with that before. And that's the thing about the bait. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes those things, that's what makes them hot takes. That's one of the best parts of it. And because Phil is such an idiot and he can't focus on more than one thing at a time, everybody thinks the pre-streams are where to hit him. And they are, to an extent. But it's in between gameplay, or these chill streams, is where the gold mine is. You know what I mean? If you watched enough Minecraft, Street Fighter, PUBG, Call of Duty Blackout, you know this. Excuse me. You know all that. But I think that's what the situation is. Let's see here. And that's that. Like I said, you got two people who've done some rather silly shit on other people, and yet Phil tried to paint them as the victims. But and I'm not to say that one or the other hasn't been on the receiving end of whatever. But I think as time goes on, and the more we're finding out how their relationship started, you're gonna find that, yeah, you guys kind of just cheated. You guys were basically talking behind your significant other's backs, and they caught wind. One wanted you out, and the other one chose to get out. But that's neither here nor there. Time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Like I said, sorry about that third broadcast, but I'm being told that the next broadcast will actually be 3. But my apologies on that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god. But thank you guys for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll see you guys for the next broadcast. Sorry, for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, a GTG Network and Productions. For the Snort Report, as well as Tim Snortons. I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. Yikes. Still have that gummy bear type texture there in the broadcast. Oh boy.